Of course, I forget to unmute myself, but hey, in that case, you wouldn't be able to hear my dog barking outside as it is fond of doing as of late. But, details. Anyway, as I was saying, this will be our first new stream for this new updated schedule for this week. Things, of course, are minimal in terms of games present. It's just a reshuffling of stream dates. So, minimal changes. Now, while I launch the game, I'm just gonna remind everyone of what we are going to be doing tonight. Last time we started on our first part of the run against Aztlan Technologies, in the hopes that this will be enough for us to not get murderized by them. Or, of course, make the infiltration of their facility possible in the first place, because apparently Project Bloodline is some bad juju. And destroying it will do everyone on this planet a favor. We also did a couple of side quests previously, with securing the supply of weapons and general supplies to our Kreutz Bazaar, as well as making sure that our clinic is also in top shape. We also met a God King, or rather Night King, that was a fan of a very terrible Slovakian fantasy series. As I mentioned, kind of like Polish Witcher. Mind you, that was early 2000s stuff, and was also based on the books, so not as bad as Netflix Witcher, but bad in its own way nonetheless. Now, before we leave, let me check how much money I got. 2,808 plus 6 karma to spare. Let's see if Malid has any new drones. Let's see. Oh, looks like I already drone both of the Class A drones, so by this point, everything I need to do is just to get myself to... Was it Intelligence 8? Or actually Intelligence 7 already, so I just need to get myself 7 karma, and I'll be able to equip Class S drones. In the meantime, maybe I can get us Drone Combat 5, which will give my drones plus 1 AP bonus. That's huge, considering I'm pretty much non-combatant and drones do all the work for me. Off to the subway we go. Actually, before we go, anything I can help you with as well, Samuel? No, looks like this is it. How's Alexander doing? Same thing as before. Lane, you got anything new to say? Even from a distance, it's clear something is not right with Lane. Coming closer, you can see dried blood on his face and clothes, as well as a few discolored blotches that pass for bruises on troll skin. More noticeably, there's considerable damage to the man's left prosthetic leg, which he now tends to with tools as antiquated as the leg itself. Are you alright, Alexei? I'm fine. Nothing a few swings of a wrench can't fix. A few swings of a crutch. Someone comes at me, thinks me weak, and I show him otherwise. Leaning to one side, Lane's crutch is caked in more blood and what appears to be bits of hair. Tell me who did this to you. Just a punk with some bad ideas. Forget about it. Are you sure you're alright? I have suffered far worse, as you might imagine, and I don't need you or anyone else babying me. Fine, I'll leave you be. However, I'm sure you're No, wait, that was just Dante. I thought your companion over there was going to say something as well. I think that's about everything we can do. So now we can go down to the metro station. Now, what's the district where we're going to today? Assemble the team and travel to ATS Technologies' Berlin compound to sabotage their bloodline research project, or assemble a team and travel to the Pharma Laboratory complex to eliminate the loose ends from your client's botched run. Let's go to that one first. Something tells me the ATS Technology run is gonna advance the plot. Let's put it this way. Okay, I'm gonna be taking Blitz, Glory, and Eiger. This should work. Loose ends. Your client has hired you to tie up loose ends at a site of a botched cloak and dagger operation. One of the operatives from the failed mission has been captured by Knight Errant security forces, and it's only a matter of time before he talks. Your job is simple. Kick in the door, find the operative, and put a bullet in his guts before he can spill them. This ain't a stealth mission anymore, ladies. We're coming in loud and fast from the get-go. Just gonna hand out trauma kits for everyone just in case. Flashbang. And that frag grenade we ought to use at some point. Put on your 3D glasses, it's coming at you live. You bet it is. The reception area of this Sharing Pharma AG lab looks normal enough. The synth leather couches were obviously designed more for appearance than for comfort, and the blue steel walls are gently illuminated with energy-efficient recessed lighting. All in all, it's a perfect example of typical corporate design sensibilities. Bland, generic, and safe. An overturned houseplant is the only sign that something might be amiss in the lab ahead. You ready for this, fearless leader? According to what Herr Fuchs told us, this entire complex is going to be crawling with hired security. I'm guessing Knight Errant, but we'll see. It's going to be a hell of a fight. We can handle it. Get ready, people. Straight off the bat, we're gonna be getting into combat. Which means, Glory, lead the way. Steel Links, let's see how you perform. 2 guards, a security camera. Somehow I am not impressed. But hey, things could change. They always do. Especially if we have Glory with a shotgun, or rather, Eiger. Like so. Track, they're back! Intruders! Hey, easy on the grenades, assholes. Once more with feeling. Here's another guard. 2 guards. things are pretty piecemeal for now. I got nothing to complain in that regard. Especially when they allow themselves to get flanked like that. However, Glory, almost always ready to rip and shred. There. Sure. It missed anyway. Come on. Can you down that guard then? No. Well, alright. Lynx, I have high hopes in you. At least one of them is down. Now, Iger, please. Finish them up. We gotta get you a better shotgun. This is taking a bit longer than expected. Looks like no one's home. Miss. Enemies are covered in Teflon. Wouldn't be behind them. Alright, you lot. Get yourselves turned off for now. You all need to catch up with the rest of the team. Anyone home? Just leftovers. Glory? Check if there's anyone in here. Just another door. That means... Iger, you do the honors. Yep, there they are. Guard, Enforcer, Captain, and of course a Mage. I'm guessing there would have been another welcoming committee over in that direction, so... It's time to boogie. Shit, look at that! What happened to him? We'll find out soon enough. For now, everyone into position. Especially with that Mage around. That bastard is going down first. Wish I had a commander ability. But a couple of frag grenades will do as well. Next turn, the drones are coming online. Just hold them tight until now. In the meantime, let's light them up. As for you, Glory, I suppose you can be on Overwatch for now. Okay, thank you for coming out over here. That was perfect. Down to the last minute detail. I don't, however, appreciate you shooting my drones. And for that, you will burn. Same for you, pal. Oops, sorry, Blitz. Didn't mean to do that. Glory, patch him up, please. Thank you. And you can start blinking away at that captain. See? That's a pretty good armor. I gotta do something about it. Hopefully we still have a couple of concussion grenades. Next turn. Can you... Not quite. Guess we'll have to settle for a regular frag grenade. Nicely done. You moving away won't change things. Iger is gonna get you with her sniper rifle anyway. Especially if we do a steady shot. Glory, do not disappoint me, please. Or please don't embarrass me in front of the viewers. Otherwise, I will be the one slightly embarrassed. Almost got that asshole. That should be enough. Yep. Get into better position and do not die. Wait, back up in the main lab, now! Here they come. Well, we can still cover that approach. Just need to shift our axis of advance a little bit. And nail the first one that comes through the door. Like that. Blitz, I'm gonna need you to patch up the Sundowner. Perfecto. And while you're all nice and grouped up, stay right there. Thank you for your cooperation. The drones will be just in time to tend to you. Like that? Welcome to die. I knew using that Mad Max quote wouldn't have worked. Still, gotta do what you gotta do. Especially when they try and dodge. However. Tactical shift. I will not suffer any more accidents. Break his armor, or at least get him down to manageable levels. Huh? I take target head and then again increase chances of a critical hit and not, you know, regular hit, so we're just gonna do it like that. Blitz, think you can nail him from this angle? Not quite, huh? Fine. Glory, please. It's important. Thank you. Now finish him off. Like so. Combat's still not over, which means they're still coming. The body on the table looks like a janitor. His chest and stomach appear to have been brutally torn open. Not envying this guy. They came from that direction, which means this area should be clear now. Before we continue, however, once again, you guys turn yourself in. because I'm gonna need to move up. Just in time, huh? Just in time indeed. However, that's what I like to see. Beautiful. Especially if the crits keep coming. Can you? You can, but the damage is... The S-class drones better be worth it. Otherwise, I might regret my career choices. 96% glory. Glory, don't disappoint me. Come on now. Okay, there we go. We are about to tie up all them loose ends. However, we're still gonna loot the place. What do we got here? Advanced medkit. Don't mind if I do. And Kamikaze. Combat stim that adds +2 body, +1 strength, and +1 willpower for 5 rounds. After the stash you go as well. What is that? Rack, what happened in there? The body on this operating table has been torn to pieces. The dual arms of an autosurgeon are the obvious culprits. Were those runners just torn open one by one like that? Oh. Of course we're not done here yet, but we're just done with that portion. And I'm kinda in the open, which I am regretting. However, I will not be stopped. Not by you, or the Knight Errant, or the dragons, or anyone. That's nice. Oh, Iger, can you nail that conjurer, please? That would be much appreciated. Almost. Now we're talking. Arigato gozaimasu. Keep them away from the elevator. Uh-huh, sure. Sure thing, buddy old pal. That's definitely gonna happen. Thank you, Glory. In the meantime, we can continue laying it on. One more. There we go. Flank him. Oh, I also got an auto turret over there. We'll keep that in mind. 2 of them, even. And that would have been a flanking route. Alright, everyone into position. Gesundheit. Dankeschön. Good thing these things are immobile and therefore can be dealt with in the only proper way. Oh, but I didn't expect that flanking maneuver. That means we got us another priority target, ladies and gentlemen. Because what's better than geeking a mage just when he is getting outside? I don't know what is. But it is a pretty good feeling. Our job, well done. Even before we get to the target. But I can assure you, it will be worth it. Especially if we nail him with a lucky headshot. Like that. Attaboy. That's another combat portion dealt with. Now, let's take a look around before we move on to that particular bit. Can't open those doors quite yet. That portion is sealed off with gas. As is this door is inaccessible. In we go then. And there's the running team. No lagging. A pile of corpses. The bodies are all dressed in high-quality ballistic armor. Ooh, can't envy them. Too late, they're here. Fast response team inbound. Hold until reinforcements arrive. That's our target. And I see some basilisks in that cage. However, 3 turns until reinforcements arrive. Can we deal with them in due time? I don't think we'll be able to. Conjurer, Guard, and the Grenadier. I'll just get myself into position. It is tempting to get Blitz in there right away. However, we need all the firepower we can get. Oh, and another captain over there. But if they're going through this door, I suppose Blitz can get over there and try to lock it down. Or at least delay them. You can hear the gears turning in my head because that is most likely what the developers intended. Or at least hoped I would do. Which means Blitz, you are gonna hoof it over there. Everyone else, get ready. And get that Conjurer dealt with immediately. Now, of course, the Conjurer goes about summoning a fire spirit. Is it? Yeah, it's Gun Rogue. Good job. and then it killed its former master. Great job, people. Stellar performance. Expect the best from Knight Errant. However, seeing as we're here, Sundowner, patch me up, please. That'd be much appreciated. And let's start working on that pesky Grenadier, as we do not need him in our lives right now. He's giving us all the negative vibes. And I don't appreciate that, as well as I don't appreciate you missing glory. Almost got him. Can you? There we go. Beautiful work, Iger. I get nothing but full compliments for you. Blink away the captain for now. There goes the demon. Or, excuse me, elemental. There's the reinforcement door, and hopefully we'll be able to fix this up as soon as possible. Up we go. You get zapped. You, in the meantime, will provide some distraction. Two turns until reinforcements arrive. Gotta work fast. Gotta work fast, but not to an extent of rushing in. We can make it happen. In fact, we will make it happen. Reinforcements won't get there in time, I can guarantee you that. Call the shot. Come on. Almost. How about this one then? Alright, fine. You win. I'm just gonna flank you and shoot you dead. Like that. Blitz, how about those doors? Thank you. Knight Errant reinforcements locked out, so now we gotta skedaddle. Skedaddle is a funny word, you know that? Of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching me right now. Welcome back to the real world. I think we're done here. I think. From the description that your client gave you, this must be your target. The rigger, Torvald Enstad. You can see him waving and pounding in the plastic of his cell door, but from where you're standing, the scene is eerily silent. I'm sure some linguist has a hell of a time coming up with these words. Or at least they did before the general populace took over this process. He looks like he's had a rough go of things. One of his eyes has been blackened, and his lower lip is split wide open. Not particularly surprising given the temperament of his captors. The only incongruous element is his outfit. He's decked out head to toe in patched black riding leathers. A pair of oversized studded combat boots shine in the halogen glare of the cell's lighting panels. From his style of dress, it's obvious that this dwarf is not a corporate employee. He's a Shadowrunner. I always hate having to kill one of our own. Still, the job's the job. Yes, it is. All the same, it feels like we're on the wrong side of this one. Not our call. Not anymore. We took the run. We have to follow through. Any last words, Torvald? The door slides open and the stench of stale sweat assaults your nostrils. Enstad steps forward, his bloody lips curled into a smile. The soles of his boots squeak on the polished tile floor. Free at last! Thank Christ! His smile widens into a sickly grin. Tar-stained teeth shine wetly in the light. Didn't think I'd bother to rescue. Whoever sent you, thank him for me. Afraid you're wrong about that. I was sent here to tie up loose ends. Mainly you. His eyes go wide. He raises his trembling hands in surrender. Whoa there, Chief. I don't know what your client told you. He said that your team botched the run, went loud too early, and got a lot of people killed. Us? We botched the run? That's bullshit, man. We did everything like we were supposed to, like always. It was that bastard's bad intel that got us hung out to dry. Sounds familiar. Please, hear me out. I promise I'll make it worth your while if you do. Couldn't hurt to hear what he has to say. It doesn't matter what excuse he feeds us, nothing can change what we have to do. A contract's a contract, Val. His hands clasp in front of him in a sign of supplication. You can see the terror in his eyes. Go ahead. Talk. Alright, okay. So, we going, right? Me and my team. But we're doing just what the client told us to. Well, the bastard forgot to mention that Pharma had a knight-errant security contract for the place. He told us that there would be a little if any resistance. So imagine our surprise when a KE response team kicked in the door and unloaded on us. According to the client, the reason why knight-errant showed up was because your team started slaughtering the lab staff. That's bullshit. They attacked us, and then knight-errant showed up and everything went to hell. Look, I can see that you are skeptical. I get that. Can't blame you for it either. I don't know me, you don't know me from Adam. But I know one thing that you will understand. I'd like to offer you a trade. I've got a little toy hidden away. Managed to stash it before those knight-errant pukes took me. My own design, totally one of a kind. I call it a pain inducer. Grade A fun for the runner who has everything, and I guarantee that you'll never find another. You let me live, and it's all yours. I'll put a fucking ribbon on it for you. Then I'll disappear. Never bother any of you again. Scout's honor. Even if we'd consider going off mission, she shoots you a significant glance, which we wouldn't. Did you honestly think that we'd sacrifice our professional integrity and the 15,000 new yen payday for a trinket? 15, huh? I can match that. You let me live and I'll pay your wage, plus the inducer. Hell, you can even tell your client I'm dead and bill him too. Double your earnings. What do you think about that? How'd you come by the 15 grand? I hit a big payday a while back, put the extra cash in my rainy day fund. Trust me, pal, I can pay you the money. You help me out, and I'll transfer it to you myself. We just need to get back to the room where I stashed my PDA. What does this pain inducer do exactly? Induces pain! It's a narrow-band microwave projector. Causes debilitating pain in a target and screws with the electrical systems of drones and the like. Think of it like a taser, only easier to use and meaner, and a whole lot more fun. And here comes the point where I ask, chat, what do you think? Do we kill him? Or do we accept his deal? Because it is a tough question. Kill him. No dice. Time to die. Well, Iger, you do the honors. Enstad's lifeless body lies crumpled on the ground. His mouth is frozen open in a silent scream. Good call, Val. We all knew that what we were here to do. Good on you for stepping up and doing it. There's nothing left for us here. Let's go. Shouldn't be more knight errant on our way, right? Right? I certainly hope so. The leader of a group is an elf with Asian features. He's obviously a vat job. The bands of corded muscle that bulge out under his sleeves have a distinctly store-bought look on them. When he speaks, his voice comes out in a gravelly rumble. My, the intrepid Val, with no rigor in sight. I must admit, I'm surprised. Yeah? Well, that makes two of us. Who the hell are you? Herr Fuchs sent us to check up on you. Given his recent troubles with Shadowrunners, this should not come as a surprise. The company man smiles and nods slightly. I shall return to him and report your task completed to my satisfaction. Good day. Huh. Our client was courteous enough to send us a wellness check. Let's call it that way, wellness check. The microwave sounded good for 2 seconds. It isn't exactly a microwave, more like a taser with extra features. But all the same. Your trip back to the Kreutz Bazaar is an unsettling one. Every time you close your eyes, horrible visions flash through your mind. Bodies torn apart by surgical machines, mouths frozen in never-ending screams, walls coated floor to ceiling in congealing blood, and through it all, the smiling face of Thorvald Enstad. You blink, banish the visions, they're behind you now. You're on your way home. Mild case of PTSD, normal in our line of work. Hell, I can check off some of the things I did back in the day. Topic for another time, when I'll have me a proper Zatsudan. Your PDA rings, and the face of your fixer, Paul Amsel, appears on screen. I have uncovered some terrible information. The team is assembled in a safe house. Please meet us with us there when you are able. This is gonna be fun. As you step forward, the rest of your team falls silent. Amsel shifts his attention to you. You can see the worry on his face. Val, I have new information. I'm afraid that the news isn't good. Yeah, I can tell. You've gathered the whole team. Yes, this is something that you all need to hear. Well, go on. We're listening. 2 years ago, a large shipment of a highly lethal radioactive bioweapon disappeared en route to a storage facility in Dresden. The weapon was designated X-15. I have traced the path of the missing shipment. It was delivered to the Harfeld Manor. Well, that sounds horrible. It is. I've heard of this stuff before. Back in the service, we called it Doom. I've never run across it in the wild, but I've heard enough horror stories to know that I don't want to. The stories that you've heard are correct. This Doom is an extremely dangerous substance. He gestures to a technical document on his computer's display. I've been reading up. To this day, the story of Doom remains a cautionary tale in biotech circles. Monoclonal antibody technology is strictly regulated now, and this substance is one of the reasons why. What does this stuff do exactly? Amsel clears his throat and reads out aloud from the information on his screen. Doom kills by destroying a host's muscle tissue via radioactive decay. Each individual Doom antibody is bound to a radioactive bismuth-212 isotope. When introduced into a host, these antibodies bind to surface-level muscle tissue. The tissue is then killed with alpha radiation. This process repeats itself until the host wastes away and dies. Jesus. I've heard that Doom was deployed in a couple of border skirmishes back in 41. After seeing what it did to people up close, the UCIS passed a unilateral ban on the stuff. If that doesn't tell you how bad it is, nothing will. Yeah. Okay, so I hesitate to ask, but what would a dragon want to with this Drac? Nothing good. That much goes without saying. That this development worries me, well, it worries me greatly. If the dragon is stockpiling bioweapons, we've got an even bigger problem than we thought on our hands. There is a moment of silence, then Dietrich speaks up. Well, in my book, this doesn't change anything. I mean, it ups the stakes if the Firewing's allowed to carry out her plans, whatever those might be. But we're gonna stop her before that happens. That was always the plan. As I'm concerned, it's still the plan now. I agree with Dietrich. We need to focus on what's in front of us. Whatever the dragon's larger plans might be, the fact is that she's after us. We shouldn't let ourselves get distracted by anything else. Amsel is slow to respond. Finally, he nods. Yes, I concur. For the time being, we must continue forward. And that means that you must continue working toward raising Alice's fee. I'll leave the matter in your capable hands, Val. When you have acquired the necessary funds and are ready to head back out to the rabbit hole, let me know. From there, we will discuss our next steps. Good. If you need me, I'll be getting prepped for the next run. Right behind you, love. Dietrich casts a backward glance at Glory. If any of this has had an impact on her, she doesn't show it. Come on, Glory, let's go. I don't like how the game sometimes freezes when people have to move around, but then again... Anything new on Shadowlands? One last DVD from Malit. The screen flickers to life and Malit's face appears. She wears a plastic smile. Oh, again, Val. Well, I've recovered the one last DVD for you, but I'm afraid that's all you've got to get. You might as well use the rest as coasters. They're all beyond repair. If you look on the table beside your DVD player, you'll find a disc that I salvaged. To be completely honest, that was a lie. To recover this last disc, I was forced to subcontract. Shirati is still a brute of a man. I'm unimpressed with his manner, and his poor hygiene disgusts me. But he's very good with old things such as this. All credit where it's due. This message ends and the image fades. Understood. What's the status of the Yalis Fund? 32,500. One job and we are good. Anything interesting in Shadowlands? Please help me find my daughter. Please help me find my daughter. She ran away from home. She is human, in her early 20s with short blonde hair and data jack. She was last seen wearing a light blue dress. Worried Mother 004. This is not exactly the place to be looking for missing kids. How did you even get in here? Wraith-like 44. I paid good money to get on here. I was told you people could help. If you've got the new Ian, you came to the right place. I sent you a number that you can reach me at. Ruby. The old help me find my missing key routine. A classic. Maelstrom. My money is on escaped wage slave. Wraith-like 44. Make sure you do your homework, Ruby. Tolstoy. Interesting. Very interesting. And welcome back. Next thread, Corp Tracers. Anyone have a good backup plan for when you get stuck with a tracer? Barely managed to bug out of my apartment after a Corp hit squad came knocking. Lesson learned, pat yourself down a couple times and make sure you don't have a tail. But if I miss something, I'd rather keep my safe houses, you know, safe. Wraith-like 44. I've had good luck with RF blockers. I have a jamming grid set up near my safe house. It projects any signals to a few miles away where I've got some cameras placed. So when someone shows up there, I know where they were trying to find me. Then I do a thorough sweep to find the tracker. All on alt bit. Sharp. How long does that go on before they give up? Tolstoy? Usually a rule of threes. I keep re-projecting a signal to different locations. In my experience, they give up after the third one is a dead end and stop listening to that RF signal. Yeah, that's fine. Any paid data for sale? Nope. Haven't found any yet. Now, time to check up on that final DVD that we have. Fourth DVD. Track 1. The DVD player ramps up to speed by filling the air with a shrill whining sound. Green Winters' face appears on the screen. 2050, April 28th. This is it. The interview. Took some digging to find it, but here he is. My big brother, back in his prime. The note disappears, and for a moment the screen goes blank. Suddenly, image of a news correspondent flashes onto the screen, accompanied by a brief orchestral flourish. A timestamp on the upper right corner of the screen reveals the date, August 22nd, 2012. Thank you for joining us. We're coming to you live from the ruins of Sangehausen, the fifth Harz mountain town to be sacked by the dragon Feuerschwinge. Standing by my side is the head of DL Defense, Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Dr. Vauclair has been hailed as a leader in the effort to bring down Feuerschwinge and end her reign of terror. Dr. Vauclair, tell us about your efforts to bring down the dragon. Killing the monster has proven difficult, to say the least. Her speed and maneuverability in the air are extraordinary. Her scales repel small arms fire, and her breath can melt steel. Our R&D teams have been working around the clock to devise a weapon capable of downing the beast. In the interim, we are providing material support for the Luftwaffe's attempts to shoot her down via conventional means. Herr Vauclair, why are you directing DL Defense's energies to the killing of Feuerschwinge? Are there corporate interests at play in this? Corporate interests? No, this is a matter of human interest. Innocent lives are being extinguished at an appalling rate. I am in a position to put an end to the slaughter, and so I must. It really is that simple. Dr. Vauclair, you must understand my skepticism. Our viewers aren't looking for a PR statement, they come to us for the true... I'm afraid that I don't have time to go back and forth on this. Your viewers can think whatever they wish. My concern is in helping the people affected by this tragedy. In that case, Dr. Vauclair, I thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. You're very welcome. To the viewers at home, stay safe and watch the skies. Salvation is coming, I promise. Again, that was Dr. Adrian Vauclair, CEO of DL Defense. Dr. Vauclair is the chief architect of the military's current plan to bring down the dragon Feuerschwinge. Stay tuned for more late-breaking news on the battle for the Harz Mountains. We'll be right back. 2012 is... no, maybe a little bit too early for explicit corporate bullshit, but then again, it started with 1999. So, it's starting to come into full force at around this time. Track 2. 2054, November 17th. There's a look of astonishment on Green Winters' face. Holy shit! I just stumbled onto some of Adrian's old lab notes. I'm not gonna say how I came across these. Someone might get hurt if the wrong people watch this. But I've checked them against some of Adrian's old handwriting samples, and they're legitimate. Holy shit, this is big. Alright, okay, back up, slow down, breathe. Okay, so these notes, they pretty much confirm something that I'd always suspected. The Luftwaffe didn't shoot down Feuerschwinge. I mean, they tried. They pumped thousands of rounds into the air around her, and they lobbed rockets at her for months. Lost a lot of attack helicopters and fighter craft in the process. But none of those things were responsible for taking her down. The Dragonfall was caused by an experimental warhead. One that Adrian and his DL Defense think tank designed. I don't understand the science of it. Not even a little bit. But from what I can piece together, it looks like they designed some sort of chemical radiological agent that acts on the metagene. I don't think that they fully understood what they were doing. It was 2012 after all. I mean, the process worked, but I don't know if they understood why it worked. Anyway, when a warhead full of this stuff comes into contact with a dual-natured creature, like a dragon, say, It drives a wedge between that creature's physical and astral forms. The body gets put into a sort of hibernation state, and the spirit is forced out. It also looks like this process can maintain that state of separation indefinitely. And that's a pretty horrifying thought. A discorporated body is supposed to die in a few hours. I've heard horror stories about ghost-walking mages getting trapped in astral space, unable to rejoin with their meat. I heard they went crazy from the pain. If what I'm reading is accurate, it's entirely possible that Feuerschwinge has been trapped outside of her body for over 40 years. This is why Adrian was always so cagey about the subject of Feuerschwinge after the Dragonfall. He knew for a fact that she was alive, even if only technically. Her body crashed down into the SOX, sure, but she wasn't dead. The government wouldn't let Adrian tell the public about any of this, of course. It didn't interfere with the lie that they were feeding us, that the Firewing was dead, and that everyone was safe, and that people should stop hiding in their basements and get back to work again. Not 14. 40. 40. But privately, he always said that she was still out there, somewhere deep in the SOX. I'd always thought that he was paranoid, but I was wrong. He knew. So, what does all of this mean? It means that the stories I get from the ghost rat suddenly sound a lot more plausible. It means that Feuerschwinge is definitely alive, and that Adrian's disappearance is unquestionably tied to her survival. It also means that Germany is in deep shit. Because if Feuerschwinge is still alive, it's only a matter of time before she rears her ugly head again. Okay, that's enough for one night. I'm gonna go get drunk. Not for me, pal, not for me. Track 3. Grim Winters' face appears on the screen. He looks younger than you've seen him, but from the way he's carrying himself, he's clearly drunk. 2033, May 15th. Look, Adrian, I understand you. Lord knows I do. But you've got to drop this dragon fixation. People are starting to talk. There is a camera cut, and you find yourself looking at a young, handsome Dr. Adrian Vauclair. He wears a slight smile on his face. Oh, they're talking, are they? What a terrible shame. Damn it, Adrian, this is serious. You're a public figure. You can lose everything if you don't keep these ridiculous fairy tales to yourself. Hermie, my theories are not, as you call them, fairy tales. Dragons are real. I saved Germany from one. Have you forgotten? No, of course not. Everyone knows that you killed the Firewing. Stopped. Not killed. Fine, stop. Whatever. Winter swipes a bottle off the table in front of him, drains it, and drops it to the floor. Call it whatever you want, but Adrian, you're the only one who's still obsessed with the damn things. There aren't that many of them, and they're not taking over the world. Such is the cry of the cancer patient, unaware of what's killing him. I'm fine, not to worry. I'll smoke another cigarette. What's the harm? He doesn't see what's happening, but he winds up dead, all the same. Now you're just being maudlin. Look, Adrian, you mark my words, Herbie. Within 5 years, corporations, even countries, will fall to these creatures. And the worst part is, nobody will care. Oh, people will tut-tut about it. There may be a protest or two, but nobody will actually do anything to stop them. The immortal, all-powerful, utterly pitiless reptiles will seize more and more of our power, wealth, and territory. And we foolish, short-sighted mortals will never get it back. Come now, Adrian. We could solve the problem, of course. But we, as a species, are unwilling to invest our energy into problems that aren't staring us right in the face. As it was with climate change, so it is with dragons. I've accepted that. But you can't ask me to stop caring about it. You're hopeless, Adrian. Fine, by all means, keep caring. Just keep your conspiracy theories to yourself. I'm telling you this for your own sake. Yes, Hermie. You're right, of course. I mustn't jeopardize my credibility with the masses. It's not just your credibility that I'm worried about. Talk is talk, but sometimes I worry that you're really gonna go back to the SOX. Hermie, Please, big brother, just drop all of this. Stop hunting the Firewing and start living your life again. If you won't do it for yourself, then for Christ's sake, do it for me. Alright, Hermie. I'll try. And then he didn't. Final track. A rattling sound fills the air and the disc grinds in its tray. A few seconds later, the screen fills with text. User, Jolly Green Winters. Last active, 1-15-54. Sex, male, metatype human, ethnicity Caucasian, body type muscular, age 50. Looking for female, human, elf, dwarf, athletic, 25-30. I am a fun-loving guy who's also a great listener. I love hiking, clubbing, and all kinds of pets. I'm looking for a cute, funny, adventurous girl who's down to party. I don't respond to profiles without pics. No orcs, no trolls. Sorry, ladies. It's just like me, for real, for real. Achievement unlocked, historical record. Watch all of the decrypted DVDs. Now then, Lori, you got anything new to say? Any thoughts about that last run? There isn't much to say. I think that we should have given Thorvald a chance to prove his claims. Waiting a few minutes to kill him wouldn't have harmed anything. That said, I understand why you did what you did. The job was to kill him. We all knew that when we signed on. We're one step closer to paying Alice's fee. In the end, that's all that really matters. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were warming up to me. I suppose that you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Val. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel that much anymore. Not since this. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown an interest and because you haven't let me push you away. I don't want to mislead you, Val. I still don't feel anything. Not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and it's worthy of exploring. I really hope that killing him was worth it. You know what? I might as well pull up information on what that thing would have been. So give me a second. Where was it? Let's see. Almost found it. Uh-huh. Almost there, if you excuse the silence. Enjoy the music in the meantime. I just have to scroll down a lot. Also could have used Blitz, apparently, to create a remote control link to the turrets and get them on our side, but hey. Cut them out pretty quickly anyway. And yes, we also could have released all those basilisks by using the terminal next to the hijackable one, but I think that would have just made the things more complicated. Oh, and we did miss the pay data node in there. Project data on some sort of chemical research project that you pulled from the Sharing Pharma AG lab that you hit. That's probably worth something to the right buyer. I'm sure it would have been just pocket change. Yeah, we're not dealing with basilisks again, especially if there is... Even though there is a knight-errant hit squad in between us and them. Hmm? And I can tell you that he really was a horrible person. Here's an extract, if we were to take him on with us. Remember those buzzsaws and that eviscerated body? As you hurry past the scene of carnage in the operating theater, a peculiar smile crosses the rigger's face. He slows to a stop, then points at the dismembered body on the other side of the glass. We ask him, "See something funny?" "Oh no, nothing much." His smile broadens and a stream of giggles comes pouring out of him. Oh, it's it's pretty horrible stuff, man. You said that you were a spider, right? Is this your handiwork? He looks you dead in the eye, and for a moment his expression remains unchanged. Then his smile broadens and a stream of giggles comes pouring out of him. Okay, yeah, you got me. Red-faced, he wipes a tear from the corner of his eye. This was one of mine. Couldn't tell you how excited I was to see this stuff. Such incredible toys! It was way too good an opportunity to pass up. That doesn't look like a knight-errant employee. Looks more like a lab tech to me. He nods enthusiastically. This was a fun one. Little prick couldn't believe it when I said the autosurgeon on him. He kept trying to get away, but whenever he went, one of my arms was there. Rip! Rip! And all the while, he was screaming like a little girl. Ah! Ah! Must have kept it at it for, 10, 15 minutes. Ah! It was hilarious, man, I tell you. Glory gives you a significant glance. You can see the disgust in her eyes. I'll point out other stuff when we see it. There was this one guy that I locked in a room with a manipulator arm. It was fucking classic. Blitz? To hell with a trinket, letting this bastard go would be wrong, Chief. You know that. Besides which, he lied to us. There was no bad intel. This bastard is the reason why things went south with that run, I'm sure of it. Abruptly, Enstad's laughter stops. The fuck is he talking about? We have a deal. Glory? You lied. The razors slide out of Glory's sculpted fingertips and lock into place with a click. There was no bad intel, and there was no reason for these deaths. None but your own diseased mind. She swivels her head to look you in the eye. If you don't want to kill him, step aside. I will do it for you. Iger, I'll help. It's what we should have done in the first place. At that moment, the door behind you slides open. A trio of figures makes their way into the room. And those would be our previous encounters. If we had the Shadowrunner archetype, etiquette, we could have killed him then and there. Betrayal? No. Anstab was never going to leave this building alive. Allow me to demonstrate. And after that... yeah, we can just kill him then and there. We'll let Glory do the honors as per her request. Doing the job this way rewards us with a measly 1 karma point. The company man inspects the rigger's corpse, a dispassionate expression on his face. He shifts his gaze back up to you. It would appear that you might possess some small shred of integrity after all. I told you, I honor my deals. I said integrity, not honor. I remain convinced that you are thoroughly dishonorable, Shadowrunner. A woman of honor would never have allowed her target to live as long as you did. Whatever your motives might have been, honor was not among them. Again, Shadowrunner etiquette kicking in. It isn't your place to judge my integrity, lapdog. Leave that to Herr Fuchs. No matter. The letter of your contract has been fulfilled. Your job here is done. I will inform Herr Fuchs of the mission's completion and of the circumstances surrounding it. Now, if we were to kill him then and there, back in the cell, we would get 3 karma. No questions asked. Pity. I'd have liked to hear what he had to say. For once, Rosa and I are in complete agreement. As if we would have ever done otherwise. Please, give us some credit here. We did the world a favor. Now, let's get back to it. You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. No, I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant, and dredging them up does not serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked, it had an impact on you. There's reason enough to continue. I suppose that is true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here is the deal. I'm going to talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints and no arguments. And we'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. The 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she is locked away in her own head again, reliving memories that she'd long since filed away. So a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express. Magically. Should have figured that you were a burnout. That's why you went nuts with the discount chrome? You could hack it as a street mage? No, I'll just ask. You're magically active? I was. Not anymore. Anyway, I turned 14. I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think that my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage, something like that. With everything that happened afterward, those days were kind of a blur. What do I remember is my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hexe. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then his belt, and then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. And all the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple of licks with a hammer too. What about the neighbors? Did anyone call the Polizei or Prosecuritas? Oh sure, they did. Our neighbors were perfectly decent people. Even if they couldn't admit it to themselves, they knew what my father was up to. When they heard a woman and a little girl screaming bloody murder, they were the first to pick up the comm. Unfortunately, police response can leave a little something to be desired. I assume that they showed up eventually, but I'll never know. I was out of there well before anyone showed up to intervene. But we'll get to that in a second. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken ribs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye, and my entire right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me and told me that I was des Teufels Hure, the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me that if he or any of his Kreuzritter brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreuzritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride out of Stuttgart. Gutsy move. You were a smart kid. Not that smart. But we'll get to that in a minute. I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it'd be a safe enough place to find medical attention and maybe to call home. It's not far from Stuttgart, but it has a huge student community that I figured I could blend into, and the university here has a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital and they patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got so beaten up, but I lied and told them that I had been mugged, which played nicely to my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. We're gonna fast forward through the next few years. I was a kid on the street, I got by as best as I could, doing whatever I had to do. The rest we can leave up to your imagination. Good? You did what you had to do. I'm no stranger to that myself. I don't think that anyone working in the shadows is. I figured you'd understand. So anyway, I lived on the street for a few years, got used to being hungry all the time, got used to getting rained on, got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So I just sort of went like that until a few days after my 17th birthday, then I met Marta, and everything changed. Marta was a sweet girl. At first I took her for a street kid like me. Her clothes were a bit ratty and she seemed comfortable being near me. But she also looked well-fed and happy, and those were two things that I hadn't been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Marta and me, I think. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Keep going, Glory. Marta told me about a place where she'd been hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Feuerstelle, the fireplace, and it was sort of a commune for dispossessed youth. It turns out that a lot of the street kids I'd known over the years had moved there. The way that they'd disappeared, I assumed that they'd been kidnapped or killed or had gone back to their parents. But here they were. I remember being kind of angry about it, like, how did everybody get the memo about this but me? Marta calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings, and I wound up following her to Feuerstelle. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, had set up this little farm just outside Tübingen in the Schönbuch forest. The Schönbuch is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Feuerstelle gave us a sense of community and stability that he'd never had on the street, and we loved Harrow for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. That's enough for now. I need to process all of this, and I don't want to continue forward until I've had the chance to do that. I know that all of this happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me, so I'm gonna ask you to give me some space for a while. We can pick it back up later. How about you, Iger? Got anything new to say? Talk to me, Iger. If something's put you on edge, I want to know that. Well, this isn't the best of times. Go ahead. There's a long pause. Finally, she turns her PDA so that you can look at the screen. This. The image that greets you is a holopic of a rail-thin orc with jet black hair. What am I looking at? His name is Yuli Kozlov, but he's better known by his handle, the Engineer. He's a mercenary, ex-Spetsnaz, one of the best in his field. I ran up against him in my KSK days. Tell me more. His specialties are social engineering and wet work. In practice, he spends most of his time paving the way for organized crime syndicates to seize new territory. He sets up bribes, takes out key members of the opposition, and forges alliances with existing street gangs. All of the groundwork that a syndicate needs. He is extremely bad news, Val, and my contact spotted him in Schattennest. That's a little too close to the Kreuz Bazaar for comfort. Exactly. I've seen what the Engineer can do up close. My KSK unit tracked him a few years ago. I had him in the sights of my rifle, but I was ordered to hold fire. We couldn't afford to give away our position. To this day, I regret obeying that order. I saw what happened to the town that he was softening up after the Syndicate moved in. Val, I have to stop him, before it's too late. What happened to that town? It can't be allowed to happen again in Schattennest. Agreed. Do you know who he's working for now? The safest bet would be a Russian syndicate, but there's no telling. His client list is longer than you'd expect. Got any examples? Well, I know for a fact that he's worked for mafia groups operating inside and outside of Russia, and he put in a lot of time with the Lobachevsky syndicate. He's taken contracts with the Triads as well. My contacts tell me that he's even done a few jobs for Tamanus. Do we have any info on Tamanus, I wonder? Let me check. Company Tap and Criminal Enterprises. Who was it again? Chatted news. Not quite seeing them there. I see Tamanus, but not Shatanos. Must be something else. And, looks like I alt-tabbed one time too many out of the game because it's currently stuck on black screen, so give me a second, I'm gonna need to relaunch it. It happens sometimes. But not to worry. We weren't thrown too far away, and we can continue right from where we left off. All right. Fog. Spurdus perde. Which, with my limited knowledge of Finnish, actually means it's okay. Now, if only there were Finns in this place that could back me up on it. But, alas, there are none. Perhaps another time, then. Oh, wait. We'll just have to speak with Paul Amsel first. Then we can get back to it. Let's see. There. Now everyone's moving into their proper places. Just gonna quickly speed through all of that. Must find Finnish VTubers. That'd be nice. I could even settle for a Polish one. I say could settle for a Polish one as if I'm a Pokemon collector. Tamanus. That's a hell of a resume. Yeah, it is. So long story short, I'm going to have to step out for a mission or two. I know how important it is that we resolve the Feuerschwinge situation. I get it, but I can't just sit back and let this happen. I won't. If the Kreutz Bazaar is at risk, it's too important for a job to rest on the shoulders of one person. I'm going with you. End of story. Alright, fearless leader. You're right, I could use the help. But the others, they can't know about this. This is going to have to be a quiet job, 2 people max. You sure you're prepared for this? If you can't hold up your end, I'll be better off on my own. Don't worry about me. I'm solid. Yeah, I know you are. Grab your things and meet me at their Weinkeller. I've got a contact who's gonna join us there, and he can help us figure out our next steps. I've really got to take advantage of Cram at some point. Plus 3 AP, even for 2 rounds, is pretty good. VTubers from each country. I'm pretty sure that's what Flork is going for with his Sox VTuber agency. I know he's got a German one with Inis. As for the other two, well, their nationality is a mystery for me. But I'm sure he does something right. This time, let's say, I'd very much like to murder your father. It's a common sentiment, believe me, but I appreciate the thought. An Icelandic VTuber. He's a chill dude. Boom. And actually, before we head out, Dietrich, got anything new to say? I was thinking about what you told me earlier. You said that your idol was going to make you pick a fight that you couldn't win. It's bound to happen eventually, probably sooner rather than later. Isn't there something that you can do to stop that from happening? Well, I suppose I could refuse, but that probably wouldn't be a good idea, especially not now. Remember, boss, the Dragon Slayer is where my magic comes from. If I turn away from him, you'd better believe that he'll turn away from me. Besides which, I don't even know if I can refuse him anymore. He's been with me for so long, I don't know where he stops and I begin. Don't worry about me, boss. I've known that this was coming for my entire life. And when it happens, I'll go down in a blaze of glory, the likes of which you can't even imagine. That's a promise. What if you were to pick a fight with a different kind of dragon? Say, maybe a gang or a corporation? That's an interesting idea. If I were big enough and heinous enough, he might be satisfied. I've never tried to bargain or negotiate with the Dragon Slayer before. I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I don't know how he'd take it either. The Dragon Slayer doesn't like to be questioned, and his temper isn't even shorter than mine. But I'll tell you that what, boss? I'll think about it. Any updates on Alexander? Nothing new, boss. He's adjusting. It's gonna take some time. You can't really believe that your idol wants you to commit suicide. Sentences you can say to both mages in Shadowrun and VTubers. Of course not. The Dragon Slayer doesn't want me to die, but he does want me to kill dragons. That ain't supposed to be safe or easy. It isn't my idol's fault that I'm getting too old to keep up with his wishes. Dietrich is an old dude, after all. Blitz! Got something new to say? One look at Blitz's face is enough to tell you that something is gnawing at him. He stands beside his table, playing with a coffee spoon. Hi, Val. What you need? What's going on, Blitz? Well, Chief... I hate to admit it, but I might be in a little bit of trouble here. Go on. Well, you remember those creditors I told you about? The ones who loaned me all of my money? Yes. Yeah, well, as it turns out, some of them are a little less forgiving than I thought they were. Keep talking. Well, One in particular seems to have taken things kind of personally. How personally are we talking here? I got a package in the mail. It had somebody's thumbs in it. Thumbs. Yeah, thumbs. They came in a cigar box packed in salt. I have no idea who they belong to. I'm pretty sure they're meant to convey some sort of message. I think that's a pretty safe bet. I don't want to lose my thumbs, Chief. I like my thumbs. I think that I need to pay this guy back. Forgot to add the chill part is because he's a zombie. Oh, that makes sense. Luckily, I've got a plan. I know how to get myself out of hot water with a meat grinder. I've got it all specced out. Let me get this straight. You took a loan from somebody named Meat Grinder. Hey, Chief, come on, I feel bad enough about this already. There's no need to rub it in. Anyway, like I was saying, I can make it all right again. But I need your help to do it. I'm listening. Well, there's this group of out in Dragonkeeper. They call themselves the Landenberg Ring. They're a financial crime organization, and there's a lot of bad blood between them and the Meat Grinder's operation. Anyway, back when I was running with the Schwarze Herzen, I laid out the groundwork for a hit on the Landberg Ring. I was never able to make good on it, though. For some reason, none of the other gangers ever volunteered to help out. With your help, I could steal enough money from them to cover my debt and get myself back into Meat Grinder's good graces in the process. So what do you think? A quick run, just you and me, with me in the Matrix and you as my man on the ground. We hit them, satisfy my debt, and laugh about it on our way back home. Sounds like a plan? Alright, Blitz, but in the future, you need to be more upfront with me about things like this. No problem, Chief. Not a problem at all. You can count on me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some last-minute stuff to take care of before we get started. Oh, and Val, thanks. No sweat, Blitz. Meet you at the U-Bahn? Oh, no, not as much, Chief. I won't be physically going to Dragonkeeper. I've seen enough of that place for one lifetime. I'll be checking in from a terminal that I set up here in the Kreutz Bazaar. Great. Okay, well, I guess that I'll send you a comm when I get there. Sounds good, Chief. Thanks again. Deckers, man. Lane, you doing alright? Lane looks to have mostly recovered from whatever happened the other day. A few butterfly stitches keep closed the lacerations on his face, and his damaged prosthetic looks to be functioning normally once again. What brings you around today? I want to talk about what happened the other day. The old soldier glowers, but given his physical handicaps and his recent injuries, he hardly makes for an intimidating figure, troll size notwithstanding. Hang my loop, hang my hoop. I'm not a child, man. I'm not helpless, and even if I was, leave me to whatever fate I've earned. What did he want? He wanted to dissuade me from lending my voice of experience to any pro-metahuman parties. I tried to talk him down, tried to explain why my fighting days are done, but he wouldn't believe me. Bastard made a liar of me, and when I beat him with my crutch. Who was it? Someone who heard an unfounded rumor. A rumor about me joining up with ORC, presumed favorite poly club among us drugs. Maybe he was Humanist, or maybe just another Flux fanatic who thought the balance of power would be upset by me joining up with ORC. I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to be left alone. Will they be back? Not if they know what's good for them. Last time they caught me alone, taking a shortcut through an alley. I won't make that mistake again. I'm sticking close to home, and close to Samuel and his people. They won't shy away from a fight. Alright, we'll leave it at that for now. And tell me more about your part in the Euro Wars. Problem with a tight-knit community like the Kreutz Bazaar is that you can't escape who you are. Fine. You want to hear it? I'll tell it. I was a colonel in the Finnish army. During the first Euro War, the Jaeger Brigade was mine. For decades, we'd used ATVs, Nasus, and Bandwagens mostly. Slow, lumbering things, but built for the snows of the Lapland. I was the one who changed all that, moving us over to T-Birds. I made us fast and nimble. The Russians were still slow, and thought they had us outnumbered and outgunned. We could run circles around them. I'm not sure when and I'm not sure who, but the comparison was made to Rommel. Arctic Fox followed soon thereafter. But I don't celebrate the title. Far too many young soldiers died under the command of the Arctic Fox. This is why some ask me to fight. And this is why I refuse. Still, Circle 7 for the Arctic Fox present here. And see, we talked about fins earlier and we found one in here. What a lucky coincidence. And now down to Weinkeller we go. I'm guessing our contact is Lucky Strike. Or this one, Bannik. This dwarf has a distinctly Eurasian appearance. He peers up at Iger through almond-shaped eyes. The rest of his broad face is dominated by strong Slavic features. He nods to himself and puts down his mug of soy calf. On the edge of the table, a plate of day-old pie cools in a haze of cigarette smoke. Hoi, Iger. Been a long time. He taps a thumb on the rim of his coffee cup. Keeping busy? You could say that. Well, this is Bannik. He's a friend. Don't know if I'd got that far. Nothing personnel, you understand. If I were to start keeping friends, I might call you one. But in my experience, friendship and obligation go hand in hand. A solitary life is cleaner. Professional acquaintance, then. Better. Now, let's get down to business, shall we? Let's. We need intel on the engineer. Where he's staying, who he's working for how long he's been in Shattenest. Whatever you've got, we want it. He spears a hunk of pie with his fork, crams it into his mouth, and starts to chew. A moment later, he shrugs. I've had worse. And of course, I'll give you what I can, but I don't know much. I can point you in the right direction, that's all. Just tell us what you can. We'll handle the heavy lifting. The dwarf nods, then fumbles in his jacket pocket for something. A moment later, he produces a weathered paper map and spreads it on the table. Alright, what you're looking at is the northwest quadrant of Shattenest. This is gang territory, all of it. These days, the whole Kietz is being held by Rambok. I've had a run-in with Rambok before. We can handle them. Wouldn't be so sure about it if I were you. The guy that filled the power vacuum when their last leader beat it is a real piece of work. But hey, maybe you're right. I hope so, for your sake. He stabs a heavy finger down on the faded silhouette of a building. This warehouse, right here, is Rambok HQ. And that's where the engineer is staying. Wonderful. If he is staying there, he must be arranging some sort of deal with him. That would be the safe bet. And they haven't pulled their guns on him yet, so it's fair to assume that negotiations are going well. I'm sure that I don't have to tell you this, but the last thing we need is an alliance between some foreign syndicate and Rambok. No good could come of that. Can't argue with that. Now, I can't tell you who the engineer is working for. You'll have to ask him about that yourself. But what I can do is make it easier for you to have a sit-down with him. Bannik reaches under the table and brings up a canvas bag. He places it in front of you and pushes it forward. Don't open that in here. There are people in this room who would kill you for what's in that bag. I'd kill them first. Alright, tough guy. I get it. Your whiz. Just do me a favor and keep the damn bag closed, okay? Tell us what you've brought for us, Bannik. What you're gonna find in there is a gadget about the size of a water pistol. It has a rubberized grip and a hair trigger, and it's good for one shot. Is it a stun gun? No. Well, not really. For your purposes, you might as well think of it as one, though. The object in question is a cyberware deactivator. I had it shipped here at great personal expense from a supermax prison in the UCAS. The warden owed me a favor. Very nice. That should make this easy. Not easy. Possible. I wouldn't be giving it to you if the job could be done without it. The engineer is rocking a Delta-grade move-by-wire system. Unless you can shut it down, there's no way in hell you're going to catch him. And if we do shut it down, he'll be forced into a state of permanent seizure. Only until he gets the thing up and running again. Deactivated isn't the same thing as broken. Until then, his life will be a living hell. But I can think of worse things to use as a bargaining chip. Remember, you need to know who he works for. The more you can take him out of his comfort zone, the better. Sounds like we have a plan. Sounds that way. Thanks, Bannick. I'll let you know how things work out. Don't bother. I'll be watching. I'm gonna take it instead of this drug. And now we can take the U-Bahn to Shatternest. Let's see, any new requests from Shockwell and Writer? Doesn't look like it. See, Shatternest. Call Iger and travel to Shatternest to locate the engineer. Just me and Iger. Call it a date of sorts. That is practically a play date, right? The engineer. Shatternest. The kids next door to the Kreutz Bazaar and an object less than an anarchy gone wrong. Violent gangs rule the streets here, trading territory for the roar of gunfire. The streets are a war zone. As dangerous as Shatternest already is, it could be worse. The gangs are vicious but disorganized. They pose little risk to their neighbors. With little more than a makeshift barricade and a few volunteers, the Kreutz Bazaar has successfully insulated itself from the chaos of its neighboring kids. The engineer could change all of that. He has to be stopped, and this F-state as a whole needs to be alerted to what his clients are trying to do. It's up to you and Iger to make sure that happens. There's the cyberware deactivator. Yeah, I took Jazz out. Might as well give it to Iger. Jazz and another Cavalier frag grenade. This should be good. How much karma do I have unspent? 8. Alright. Jumping on to 8 intelligence then. Maximum for orcs. And intelligence 9 is maximum for humans, elves, and dwarves. As you near the edge of the Kreutz Bazaar, the familiar piss and asphalt stench of Shatternest crawls into your nostrils and sticks in the back of your throat. The dilapidated husks of burnt-out buildings loom above you, giving the place an air of menace. I was hoping I'd put this place behind me after the Humanis run. Yeah, I'm with you here. The funny thing is, a syndicate presence might actually help Shatternest. In the short term, at least. They'd clear the streets, if nothing else. Don't tell me you're changing your mind. Not for a second. A syndicate, any syndicate, in Shatternest would be a disaster for the Kreutz Bazaar. Let the people on the other side of the gate deal with their own problems. I won't allow my home to be endangered for their sake. Oh, looks like we got a sabot here in chat. Give me a second. And dealt with. The music is definitely all military-like, as is befitting from Eiger. You again? Well, you ignored my warning last time, but you ain't dead, so I guess you can handle yourself. Let him through, Sergey. Didn't even move. Oh, now he moved. Over here, then. At least I think so. Yeah. Hold on a second. What do we have here? Bliss. Sure thing. I didn't miss too much of it. That definitely looks like a combat encounter. Just some bum rifling through stuff. Best not to get too close to those guys. Good idea, Eiger. We're just passing on through. Some lady and some man. Well, let's speak to the man first. What? What do you want? Just looking for some information. I bet you are. I've seen your type before. You're probably looking for someone or looking for something that's been stolen. Either way, the Rambok won't be happy about you sticking your nose into Shotgun Nest. I'm new in town. What's hot around here? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. All there is to do in Shotgun Nest is to get your arse beat by gangs until you decide to join one. What gang are you in? I'm still in the former camp. I've heard what the Rambok do to haze new members. I'll take getting pushed around every once in a while over that. Alright, I'm leaving. I got pots and pans. You need pots and pans? No, but some info would be nice. You see any new friends of the Rambok show up lately? Yeah, I sure have. What's it to you? The woman eyes you up and down, clearly waiting for you to make an offer. Just trying to help out the neighborhood. They're just down the street, in the warehouse with the grass in front. New guy showed up a few days ago, seems like a bigwig. They've been moving product through there ever since. What kind of product? That cost you an extra, sweetie. Is it important? Sure. Drugs, guns, the usual. Seems like more drugs than guns lately, so maybe things will pick up around here. Thanks. No problem, honey. I got the best deals in pots and pans this side of Spandau. Thank you for your business. This is the warehouse we want to get in, so maybe there is a back door. Before we go in, how about that motorcycle? The engine's still warm. Colors on the tail clearly mark it as a Rambok property. Looks like we can't do anything about it just yet. I got any ideas? Looks secure. I might be able to blast it open with a controlled explosive, but it'd spook anyone inside. Probably best if we could just find the code. So let's look around a little bit. Can't march in from that point, of course. Lady, I suppose you're up for another transaction? The warehouse you told me about is locked up with a key code panel. You know anything about that? Sure, I can help you out there. For a price. I can deal with that. 500, no less. I gotta make a living, you know. Fine. The code is 292 something. I don't know the last number. That'll get you most of the way, though. Enjoy! You don't even know the whole thing? I'm not going near that place. Good luck. Easy for you to say. You heard of Spandau Ballet, and now prepare for Spandau Pots and Pans. Debut single, Cast Iron. That's the kind of place that turn your eyes to jelly. Let's try 2921. 2922. Let's see, what was it once again? Okay, 2923. 2924. There we go. 2924. And we've spooked them by our presence. In there, that's our man. Concentrate on the Conjurer. Not that way. Much better. Should probably get into cover. Water Elemental. Okay. And that one didn't go rogue. Can we get close enough to activate the Cyber Deactivator? I'm gonna need to go through here, it seems. Load. And another one. I sincerely hope that I haven't screwed this mission and we just need to intercept him. Because as it stands, I'm not sure we have enough firepower. But maybe this will change. Stop shooting me, that'd be much appreciated. Oh, midnight, it's where you get off. Understood. In that case, see you tomorrow and hopefully you'll be able to catch the VOD. There we go. Perfect. Moving up. Smoke screen. I hope I didn't do it wrong. Because those crits are killing me. Come on now. Use the basic trauma kit. And get back to it. Come on now. You can do better than that, I know that. I've seen you do better than that. Like that. Come on now. If you can stop shooting me, that'd be much appreciated. Iger, can you take care of him, please? Asshole. This should wake him up. out into the streets. Now we get the objective, do not let the engineer escape. We need to be extremely close. I see. I hope I haven't made a mistake. Does this count as an extremely close range? Not yet. I literally need to be up in his face. Melee range, then. Oh no. I guess I should have given this somebody else, because I'm currently out of consumables. Can we outrun him? Hey, asshole. Fight me. I do not like how this is developing. Maybe I should give that... Maybe I should give that device to Iger. Oh, I'm guessing it's too late for that, huh? Okay, I think we can still make this work. We go about it like this. We got a concussion grenade. With your name written on it. Thank you. Now I just need to get up close and personal, while Iger keeps everyone interested busy. What? You mother... Diese Mutterfickerin. I don't have any other words in that regard. Me and my stubby legs. Let's try this again. Once more, with feeling. Much better. And hopefully this time this should be enough. Asshole. Turn off the drone. Okay, finally. Now we just need to clear the area of Rambok gangers. Easier said than done, but here you go. Here the assholes come. I just need to stay a bit more out of harm's way. And get links online. Of course, it's way out there, which is highly unfortunate. But what can you do? Not bad. Not bad at all. Let them come. Reduces chance to hit by 15%. Tiger, don't die on me, love. Still going to need you to finish the mission. Okay, that counted. Help me drag this guy back to the warehouse. We're going to find out what he knows. The engineer lies splayed out on the ground, his body trembling violently. Iger shoves a bottle up his nose and squeezes. The engineer shudders violently, then the trembling begins to subside. An aerosol BZD, to help treat these seizures. Bannik was kind enough to include it in his goodie bag. It won't last long, but it should give Yuli here enough muscular control to answer a few questions. The engineer's voice comes out in a trembling stutter. Fuck you, troll! See? He's talking already. The engineer's eyes burn with hate. Beads of sweat dot his brow as he struggles to control the tremors that rack his body. He takes a deep breath, holds it, then releases it slowly. The trembling begins to subside. I'm sorry we had to use that thing on you. Must be terrible, having the shakes like that. It is. Is that what you want to hear? I know that troll bitch. We have history. But you are a stranger to me. Are you sure that you have the stomach for this stranger? Not many do. I have stomach for all sorts of things. Things you can't even imagine, Yuli. The Shadowrunner thinks that he can frighten me. His voice sounds stronger now. The stutter that marred his speech has almost completely faded away. How adorable. Oh, Yuli, you should be frightened. She slaps him across the face, splitting his lip down the middle. The impact sounds like a gunshot. You're in serious trouble, my friend. Iger leans in towards the engineer. He recoils, grinding the back of his head against the grease-stained Duraplast tiles. You're helpless. A fucking cripple. Her voice comes out in a snarl. But if you answer our questions, things will go easier for you. So tell us, whose payroll are you on? She grabs a fistful of the orc's hair and tilts his head. Her face is inches from his. Tell us who sent you to Shatten Nest. There's a long pause. Eventually, the engineer looks away. Alright. You want to know so badly? I'll tell you. Tamanus sent me here. They want to use Shatten Nest as a base of operations in Berlin. My point of contact is a ghoul named Beetle. He leans forward and locks eyes with Iger. There, you've got your intel. Now set me free or kill me. Yuli. Iger leans back, shaking her head. You won't roll over an employer this easily. Your rep tells me that much. He raises an eyebrow in a look of mock astonishment. No? No. Iger's right. You're jerking us around. You wanted a name? I gave you a name. You want more? I can give you those too. I can name you 100 clients who'd love a piece of Shatten Nest. Now, do your friend intend to determine who really sent me? I've got a couple of ideas. You can try beating the truth out of me. You can try cutting on me. Get creative with the pliers if you like. Every time you hurt me, I'll give you a different name. Torture me or don't, it'll all end the same way. I'll be dead, you know nothing for certain, and my clients will move ahead on schedule. Help us out then. If you're already dead, why care about being a snitch? I won't give your sheetroll the satisfaction. She wants it, that's why she won't get it. Iger's hands bunch into fists. But you can tell, she is still smiling, but you can still feel the heat of the hatred behind her eyes. If you don't start telling me what I want to hear in the next 30 seconds, this is gonna get messy. I know that look, Yuli. I'd start talking if I were... The engineer cuts you off. A perverse smile has spread itself across his face. You know, Iger. He takes his time pronouncing the name, savors it. I'd like to tell you a story. We share so much history, you and I. Iger says nothing, but her eyes narrow. This is a funny story. It's a story about your time in the KSK. A story about futility. I can tell you all about the many lives you've touched and how the syndicates touched them again afterward. Would you like that? There was a long pause. Eventually, Iger turns to face you. Val, do me a favor. Sweep the building for intel, anything that we might have missed on the way in. Yeah, I'm on it. Take good care of our friend here. She shoots a disgusted glance at your captive. Yeah, don't worry. I will. Let's see. A couple of courier drones. It looks melted. The cargo container is empty. This generic courier drone has been snapped together out of prefab parts from a dozen different manufacturers. It's a cheap utilitarian drone, remarkable only in that it is so incredibly plain. A half-bright teenager could cobble something like this together in an afternoon. The drone sits in a charging cradle, its turbofan unpowered. A cheerful green light blinks on its front panel to remind you that it's still active. You can see the silhouette of something under the flimsy plastic dome of the drone's cargo compartment. Whatever this thing was here to deliver, it's still carrying it. You depress the catch on the container's plastic lid. Rather than swing it open, the lid slides back to reveal a touchpad. Looks as though this thing is password locked. Rig into the drone. Patching into the drone's OS via your remote control rig is simple enough, but you run into a hitch. Whoever set this thing up seems to have installed a number of anti-theft safeguards to prevent unauthorized access. You could attempt to slip past them, but there is no telling what will happen if you trip one. attempt to push your way past the safeguard. Whoever put this thing together was good. Surprisingly good. But not as good as you. You slip past the drone's safeguards, and within seconds, its functions are yours. The plastic lid of the cargo container pops open with a click. Inside, you find what appears to be a homemade SimSense chip. It sits securely in a custom-made plastic bracket. You pop the chip out of the bracket and pocket it. A few seconds later, an angry hissing sound comes from somewhere deep within the drone. As you step away from the drone, the hissing sound grows into a roar. Bright white sparks spill out from the drone's melting chassis and streak across the room. You've seen this kind of reaction before. Thermite. Whoever built the drone must have wired it with a self-destruct device. Within seconds, all that's left of the little drone is a molten wreck on the charging cradle. Foul-smelling smoke pours from the remains. You steal another glance at the chip that you recovered and turn away. We got anything? A homemade SimSense chip pressed out of generic brand components. What about those barrels? Chemical storage barrels. A tight jostle shows that they're completely empty. The broken body of a human man lies on the floor. His face is a mess of fresh cuts and congealing blood, and his head is oddly deformed. Despite his wounds, his mouth is twisted into a macabre smile. Inspect the body. Judging by the shape of the ganger's head, you'd guess that his skull had been fractured in at least 3 places. The center of his forehead is particularly gruesome. It looks soft, as though the skin were stretched like a tent between shards of broken bone. Looking up, you can see a great smear of gore in the door from the room that you found him in. The implications are clear. This man bashed his own head in trying to get out, and he did it with a smile on his face. His hands are badly broken too. You've seen these sorts of injuries after bare-knuckle fistfights, but never anything this severe. This man punched something hard, and it went on punching his hands until his hands were reduced to useless slabs of meat. Medical conclusion? All of these symptoms point to one thing. Something drove this ganger into a homicidal fury, and that fury didn't die until he died. You've heard of pharmaceuticals that can cause this. PCP, Datura, substituted cathinones, but without a lab test, there is no way to say for sure what drove him to this. Anything I missed on this side of the warehouse? Forklift? The forklift's tires are flat. Looks like it hasn't been used in years. That looks like it to me. Back to our friend here. As you approach, you can see that the engineer's chest is sheeted with blood. Most of it seems to be streaming from his nose, which has been crushed into a wad of bloody meat. Iger turns to face you. Her bunched fists are dripping red. Find anything? She speaks to you through clenched teeth. Her voice sounds strained and her cheeks are flushed. Having fun? I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing it because he deserved it. If you knew half of what this bastard has done, if you'd heard the things that he just told me, you'd do the same. Fair enough. Just don't get carried away. We need him. She pauses and turns away. Just tell me what you found. Yes, please. The engineer's voice is thick and wet. He smiles through a set of gore-streaked teeth. Enlighten us. I found a body in the other room. From the looks of it, he tried using his head to beat down a steel-reinforced door. Interesting, but not unusual in these parts. There are all kinds of drugs that could make a person act that way, and most of them are hard to get in a place like Shatten Nest. Have you found anything else? There are a pair of courier drones in the other room. No markings. They looked custom-built. One of them had been slack, but the other had this chip in its storage compartment. When you produce the chip, the engineer's eyes widen slightly. He turns his head and cuffs wreck his body. Interesting. That means something to you, Yuli? Iger takes the chip from you and holds it up to the light. No identifying markings. I've seen enough BTLs in my time to know one when I see it, but this is different. It's been modified somehow. Go ahead and slot it, bitch. It'll take you to on the ride of your life. Smack him for me, will you? I'm busy. Hit him. Your fist connects with the ruined meat of the engineer's nose. He coughs, chokes on his own blood, and then spits a wad of it into your chest. You don't know what you're holding, slag! He spits the words out like venom. His eyes are locked on the chip in Iger's hand. Slowly, he licks his lips. You don't deserve to touch that chip. I thought that guy was a professional. He is. I know his rep. I know that he is much too careful to get himself addicted to Sims. She glances at the engineer. His eyes are locked on the chip. If these things have him hooked this badly, they must be even more addictive than standard BTLs. That's a frightening thought. You're telling me. The last thing we need is more sim junkies out on our streets. You got anything to add to that, Yuli? You have no idea how wrong you are about all of this. He struggles to rise from the floor, but his muscles refuse to cooperate. Finally, he gives up with a scowl. If I could move my arms, I'd take that chip from you and show you what it does. I'm sure that you would. She glances over her shoulder at you. Good find, Val. We're struck a nerve. Any other thoughts? Yeah, actually, I think that I might know where the other chip went. Remember that body I found in the other room? Yeah, good thought. Go check it out, but be quick. I don't know how long it'll be before we have company here. I'm on it. Search for the missing chip. Peeling back a patch of matted hair, you find something that a casual viewer could have missed. The man had a chip jack. It's a cheap model, sufficient for loading SimSense chips and BTLs, but little else. It doesn't take much effort for you to pry it open. Inside the chip jack, you find a globe of plastic. It looks as though whatever this guy was running melted down sometime after he slotted it. A chip jack like this couldn't generate enough heat to destroy a SimSense chip. The only logical conclusion is that the chip itself was wired to melt down after use. The plot thickens. The engineer's eyes remain locked on the chip. His face has gone pallid white and his shirt is drenched with sweat. His eyes bulge and his breathing is heavy. Find what you were looking for? Yeah, I pried his chip jack open and found a blob of melted plastic inside. It was still warm to the touch. I've heard of things like this before. Single-use sims designed to self-destruct after they are slotted. Keeps the customers from reusing the same BTL over and over again. I'd say that you found our missing chip. Yeah, I agree. But the ganger who slotted this wasn't blissed out like a normal sim junkie. It was almost the opposite. He looked wild, like a madman. Madman. The engineer lets out a chuckle. It's a hoarse, barking sound. You don't know a damn thing. Why don't you educate us? The chip doesn't drive you insane. It opens your eyes. His voice grows in volume, becomes ragged. Slot one, and you become a god. Iger stares at him, her expression flat. The engineer sneers. I too was a skeptic. Then the wolf caught me, and the raven opened my eyes. And now at last, I can see! Suddenly he lurches forward. Every muscle in his body goes tight and the cords stand out on his neck. Give me the chip! It was promised to me! I need it! Tell us who you're working for and it's all yours. The engineer spits out a mouthful of blood. It hits the floor with a sickening splat. He grinds his teeth, then snarls out a single word. Winter night. There is a moment of silence. Finally, Iger speaks. Never heard of them. Of course you haven't, bitch. If you had, you'd already be dead. They don't leave loose ends. His body begins to tremble. It looks like the drugs are wearing off. They have money, she trolled. Money and influence. Enough to put the syndicates to shame. Even I cannot say how much, but I do know that what I've seen is just the tip of the spear. Alright, let's say that you're telling the truth and some sort of secret society is behind us. What do they want with Shatten Nest? They do not tell me these things. All I know is that they want to store things here. Crates, boxes, shipped in from all over. No cargo inspections and no traces back to them. What are they shipping in? Weapons? Drugs? More of these BTLs? He eyes her incredulously. You think that I asked them? It is not my place to know. All that I know is that I was promised to me. Give me the chip! His voice comes out in a shivering screech. You promised! He promised you the chip. Iger smiles at the engineer. Slowly, she pulls a knife from her belt. Its serrated edge glints in the night. I, on the other hand, didn't offer you a goddamn thing. Well, she's got you there. Iger leans in to look in the engineer in the eye. She grins. Goodbye, Yuli. She plunges her blade into the engineer's throat. The York lets out a startled gurgling sound, thrashes, and dies. Iger wipes her hands clean and looks up, an expression of grim satisfaction on her face. Well, that takes care of that. Thanks for the assist, fearless leader. Anytime. Ready to head back to the Kreutz Bazaar? We need to let the F-State know about this. Hang on a second. We should search the body first. Who knows? Maybe he has some additional evidence on him. Or in him. Could be that he was headwear storage. We won't know until we do digging. Alright, let's get this over with. Time passes. The job is long and unpleasant, but eventually you find something. A hidden storage compartment in one of the engineer's cyber arms. Deactivated as his cyberware is, it takes some prying to get it open, but Iger leans in and puts some muscle into it. With a metallic snapping sound, the compartment yawns open. Iger reaches in and puts out a cylindrical object about the size of a beer can. She inspects it, and a smile creeps across her face. What the hell is that? This, my friend, is a pulse grenade. The last I heard, the Russian military were developing them as crowd dispersal devices, but that was years ago. Looks like Yuli kept a memento of his time in the Spetsnaz. Looks like typical Russian engineering. Clunky, but functional. If I took this thing apart, I bet that I could figure out how they made it. Anything else in there? She dips her hand into the secret compartment one more time. No, not that I can. Without warning, the engineer's cyber arms begin to twitch. His body bucks convulsively while his dead eyes stare straight ahead. Iger snatches her hand back and steps backward. What the hell? The engineer's body surges forward, a violent convulsive motion. His eyes bulge out of his skull. Then his chest evaporates in a spray of light. As you watch, the chemical fire that rages from the engineer's body blackens his flesh and spits sparks across the room. It's the same reaction that you saw when the drone went up. A thermite reaction. His employers. Winter Night. They must have implanted that thing in him. Yeah, must have. I'm willing to bet that if we hadn't used the cyberware deactivator on him, he'd be gone up before we had the chance to spill any names. If you were looking for further proof, I think that this was it. Yeah, looks that way. Let's go, people will need to know about this. Winter Night, however. Winter Night is very, very bad news. There is a small ledger lying in this crate. The cover is cheap leatherette and the paper is a tissue-thin newsprint. Leaf through the pages. The pages are filled to the overflowing with handwritten text. You don't recognize the language, but judging by the X accent marks, you'd guess it's a Scandinavian tongue. While you can't read it, the arrangement of the text tells you that the ledger is primarily being used as an address book. Pocket it, and move on. Back to Kreutz Bazaar. The U-Bahn whisks you back towards the Kreutz Bazaar. Iger standing by your side. The image of the engineer's body disintegrating in flame replays itself over and over in your mind. The bright flash, the shower of sparks, the overpowering stench of sizzling meat. A blue-green afterimage hangs suspended in the center of your field of vision, and it refuses to be blinked away. From what Iger told you, the engineer was a menace, an international criminal at the top of his game. and as you watched, he was consumed from within by a device that marked him as disposable. The rattle of your U-Bahn car coming to a halt shakes you from your reverie. You're home. Now, let me give you a little rundown about Winter Night. Winter Night is an insane Norse pagan cult from out of your darkest nightmares. They believe that its holy mission are to bring about Ragnarok. It's run by a toxic shaman, a deeply unhinged drone engineer, and a war criminal. In the future, they will be partially responsible for the Matrix Crash 2.0, because the cult believes the Matrix to be an instrument of evil. And they were subsequently destroyed, or rather will be subsequently destroyed by the corporate court. But before that, they got their hands on a crap ton of nukes, modified some to have EMP blasts, and came very close to actually causing nuclear apocalypse. Their most disturbing creation, as you have seen, is the God BTL chip, a digital drug that simultaneously induces euphoria and rage at levels that do not occur in nature, turning whoever uses it into a violent berserker who feels no pain and hates literally everything. And the best part is, it's addictive. Needless to say, Winter Night is very good at brainwashing. Also, their sleeper agents at Zeta Imperial Chemicals, a mega corporation we'll be talking about later, developed the Surtr nanoplague, which causes metahuman flesh to combust on contact, as well as the Ymir toxin, which causes metahuman blood to crystallize. You know what, sure. 10 new yen. That was enough. I wonder if Algernon has anything to say about our travels so far. Have you ever heard of a gang called the Kreuzritters? Sadly, yes. They're quite active here in Berlin. They're fascists, plain and simple. They cling to Christian doctrine to justify their factions, but they are killers first and religious fanatics second. Just what the deal is with religion here anyway. I've never paid much attention myself. Ah, well, it's complicated. We stand in a country that has clung to its religious heritage with considerable zeal. In much of the developed world, the awakening shifted public perception away from organized religion, but here in Germany, it had the opposite effect. While many developed nations have adopted spiritualism, some here might call it paganism, as their de facto belief systems, the Germany of 2054 remains a Christian nation. Whether that's a good thing or a bad one is open to interpretation. I take no stand on the matter either way. And what do you believe? I am a simple traveler and a seeker of truth. I believe what I directly observe, and I have observed... His voice trails off, and a corner of his mouth twitches up into a smile. Much. In my view, all belief systems are essentially different ways of interpreting the same thing. Magic is an underlying force of the universe. It is a fundamental truth. Religion is the lens that societies use to focus the enormity of that truth into something that their people can understand. So you think that the world's religions are wrong, then? Did I say that? No, young dwarf. If anything, I'm saying that all belief systems are equally valid. After all, they're all different interpretations of the truth. And how can the truth be wrong? I don't buy any of this. We're dealing with fundamental contradictions here. If one philosophy says that there is no God and another says that there are hundreds of them, they can't both be right. Could a Kabbalist create a golem if his faith were misplaced? Could a voodooist Hungan commune with the law if they did not exist? Could a Shinto Kanushi channel the power of kami spirits if they were figments of his imagination? All of these things happen in the Sixth World, and yet the traditional forms of many religions would each claim that the others are wrong. It's a conundrum, to be sure. The world's great religions have been struggling with it ever since the Awakening. This is a problem that I cannot solve for you, young dwarf. You'll have to find your own answers. But what is the source of magic? Where does that truth come from? You ask questions that have no answers, young dwarf. My experience leads me to suspect that magic is its own source. You may, of course, choose to believe differently. It matters little to me either way. Intriguing. Well, you've given me a lot to think about. It was my pleasure. Now, is there anything else that you need? No, that should be all. Hey, Kami, anything new? Not a lot I can tell about you that I haven't already guessed. Resident Spy Master, Coffee Brewer, Outsider, the official Turk of the Kreutz Bazaar. Some shtick. It works for him. He had to make some sort of living here in the Kreutz Bazaar, you know. He's not got a trade skill. He's not goblinized, so he couldn't hang with Beckenbauer. If he opened a normal shop, he'd be ousted by someone thinking he's stealing their job because he's not German. The coffee shop was a good option because it's obvious. He stays exotic and does what they expect of him, which with the intel and stuff. Sorry about the intel dump. It's not really useful information, and you'd probably guessed anyway at this point. But you asked, so... You've been a real doll. Gotten way too much information out of me, though. See you around, yeah? And you stay classy, Kami. I suppose we can go for another run. This time, of course, solving Blitz's problem. Travel to the Landenberg Rings Bank in Drogen. Keep it to steal clear Blitz's debt. Actually, before I go, I'll need to stock up on trauma kits, because I am running low. Considering how I burned through them, it's in the last mission. Dr. Esquivel, if you're selling, I'm buying. So what was in that drug? Well, about that. I sure hope you haven't been taking that stuff. Oh, no, never. A friend of mine used it once. I put a small sample in my mass spectrometer and I noticed a very curious odor. Quite sweet. In fact, but commingled with the smell of burnt plastic. I examined a bit under the microscope while it was running. My eyes came to the same conclusion as the spectrometer, though it did narrow down some specifics. Basically, what you have here is a crystalline version of the methamphetamine cram, which is popular with some neighboring Kias. It hasn't caught on around the Kreutz Bazaar quite yet, though. These crystals were ground into a fine dust, then it was cut with powdered sugar and what appears to be a polycarbonate glitter. I would imagine that when the drug is administered, the glitter would open micro-lacerations in the skin, allowing the drug's effects to be felt more rapidly. Due to the powdered sugar and glitter, though, I would imagine that you are getting less cram than you would from a pure uncut source. I'll tell my friend it's not safe. You do that. Now, how much money do I have to spare? I'll take one Bumona Gold trauma kit and one regular Bumona trauma kit. Plus, of course, one advanced med kit. Should be fine. And while we're here, might as well go and tell Zach that his stuff is not safe for consumption. Well, not any more safe than regular drugs, maybe even less safe. What's the deal with the special concoction? Nah, changed my mind. Now we can go and clear out Blitz's debt. Travel to the Landenberg Rings Bank in Dragonfall to clear Blitz's debt. Dragonfall. It'll be high up in anyone's list of places to avoid, but that's where you're headed. And you're going there alone this time. The last time that you saw Blitz, he was carting his portable terminal over to Café Cezve, presumably so that he could do his decking in the most comfortable environment possible. Like everything else related to Dragonfall, the U-Bahn train that services it is in poor repair. The car that you're riding in stinks like a chemical toilet on a hot day. On the floor near the doorway, you catch sight of a trampled lump of tattered fur. The longer you stare at it, the more convinced you become that you're looking at the remains of a long-dead squirrel. The train rumbles to a stop, and the doors slide open. Time to get this over with. This should be fine, right? I'm sure it will be. How much karma do I have left? 2. Not spending it now. Stepping out of the U-Bahn tunnel, you once again find yourself in the squalid alleys of Dragonfall. This place is a pit. Piles of waste, human and otherwise, litter the streets. The gutted husks of commercial buildings stand hollow and empty all around you. Your comlink crackles to life and you can hear the distant sounds of Café Cezve. Merriment, laughter, the clink of silverware on china. Blitz's voice cuts in a second later. Hey Chief, ready to go do this thing? Yeah. Say, Blitz, I got a question for you. Yeah? You hear a slurping sound, presumably Blitz taking a sip of steaming hot soy calf. The only steam that you can see out here is your own breath condensed in the frigid night air. What's up? How did I let you talk me into coming back to this hellhole? There is a long pause before he responds. Well, you recognized the fact that I needed your help, and then you, volunteered? Because you're a good leader? You owe me for this, man. Yeah, Chief. Yeah, I do. Now, let's get to it, shall we? A plain-looking man in a fancy suit taps away at his PDA. He's an older guy, probably in his late 50s. In the filth-strewn streets of Dragonfall, he stands out like a sore thumb. At the sound of your approach, he stops what he's doing and shifts his gaze to you. Ramjet Vel, right? I might be. Who's asking? My name is Hazenkamp. I'm Mr. Grinder's accountant. What a remarkable coincidence. Hazenkamp nods, his expression is deadpan. Mr. Grinder sent me to ensure that the money transfer goes according to plan. When you enter the building, I'm going in with you. How did Meat Grinder even know that I would be here? Your pal Blitz. He sent Mr. Grinder a message with a complete breakdown of your plan about an hour ago. He did, huh? Your con crackles to life. Well, of course I did, Chief. How would I be sure that this would get me off the hook if I didn't ask? That's fair, I suppose. Of course it is. I wouldn't go behind your back on anything that wasn't fair, Chief. I, just didn't want to bother you, is all. I hate to interrupt, but if you two are finished, I'd like to get this show on the road. I want to get back home before my grandkids go to bed. Couldn't agree more. It's your turn, Blitz. Get the door open so that we can get inside. You got it, Chief. Heading inside. This won't take 5 seconds. Hazenkamp must survive. Blitz must survive. Alright, that's where we need to go. A gatekeeper IC program stands impassively, waiting to challenge all comers. Visitor, identity unknown. Please present security code string. Let's see here. Override security access, sort command, trap door. There's a brief pause and then the IC flashes twice. Access granted. Yeah, that's what I thought. Two auto turrets on the other side. On either sides of the door. 4 of them even. A piece of Watcher IC turns, flashing angrily. A rapid-fire sequence of lights pulls out a warning. Keep away. Check my credentials with your friend back there. Go on, I can wait. A moment later, the Watcher IC flickers apologetically. Secondary security verification. Approved. Super user status verified. Query. How may I help you today? Just step aside, pal. I'm in a rush. The program obediently moves aside. Proceed, and have a pleasant day. Don't mind if I do. Teller area door. Can I get to it? Not yet. Main system hardware firewall. So for now we just go to the alley door. And that should do it, Chief. You're good to head on inside. The main server should be just ahead. A shocking display of competence from the red-haired disaster. That's what Mr. Grinder calls your pal, by the way. He's got a wrap around these parts. For some strange reason, all of his friends keep dying. Don't listen to him, asshole. This asshole, Chief. He shouldn't even be here. I don't like him either, Blitz, but we're stuck with him until this thing is over. Can't happen soon enough, so here's an idea. Let's get this finished, and then we can all get back to disliking each other on our own time. Fine by me. Anything else that we need to know, Blitz? Yeah, I've hit the first firewall in here. I'll need you to get in there and install that bypass for me. Got it. We'll go find a terminal. I hope it won't be greeted by auto turrets right away. This place is a dump. The top drawer of this desk is packed full of slender plastic rods. Cred sticks, hundreds of them. You sink your hand into the drawer of loose cred sticks and fish out a fistful. The plastic is slick and pleasant to the touch. As you withdraw your hand from the desk, Hasenkamp chuckles. They're all blank. You don't think that the Landenberg ring would leave them in an unlocked drawer if they had money in them, do you? You're probably right, but it couldn't hurt to check. You try to initiate a transfer between one of the cred sticks from the desk and the one in your pocket. Sure enough, the stick from the desk is blank. So is the one the next you try, and the next. Told you so. Now, can we keep moving, or do you want to test every cred stick in that drawer? Well, it couldn't hurt. That was a rhetorical question, genius. Come on, Val, let's keep moving. This desk is catastrophically messy. Candy wrappers litter its work surface and the bottom drawer is ajar. You about through over there? Hang on a second, I want to check this out. I'm not sure that we're on the same page here. So we should probably hash this out right now and save ourselves some time. We are here to fetch the money that your friend owes to Mr. Grinder. That means that we aren't here to ransack desks or steal office supplies. So what you're doing right now could accurately be described as waste of time. This isn't going to take long, don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm irritated. But, fine. Whatever. Do your thing. Just do it fast, okay? You got it. Rummaging through the desk, you find an old-fashioned binder stuffed with cheap paper. Leafing through the pages, you discover what appears to be a business plan. Apparently, the Landenberg ring is in the process of opening a string of payday loan centers across Dragonfall. Hey, Hasenkamp, what does Grinder think about this? Is the money landing his racket? Yeah, these Landenberg pricks have been a tick on his ass for years now, sucking away the revenue that should be lining his pockets. Bad business all around. thankfully we're gonna recover at least a little of that cash tonight. And speaking of which, just a second, I'm almost done. At the back of the binder you find a note scrawled on a slip of scrap paper. Blots, I have real and pressing concerns about this silent partner that you have brought on for the loan center scheme. We don't need him. I keep saying it, but nobody listens. Call me. JB. Any idea who this Plots guy is, Hasenkamp? Miserable son of a bitch. I had to share an office with this man for... Never mind. You don't need to know. The plot thickens. I will grab the medical supplies. Never hurts to have an extra medkit. Dig through trash. Oh, for Christ's sake. Here we go again. Calm down, man. This is all part of the job. This is ridiculous. You're on a run with a deadline and you're rooting around in a trash can. It happens more often than you'd expect. The longer we argue about this, the longer it's gonna take. He steps back, an exasperated expression on his face. Alright, fine, do your thing, but make it quick. Most of the waste in here comes from the form of old bank statements. Apparently somebody in the Landenberg ring has been using the backs of the statements as scratch paper. The third handful of trash that you liberate for the bin contains a note that catches your eye. Hey, where did you score that stuff, man? That juice that you were passing around, that stuff was unreal. I'm serious, man, I haven't seen that been that high since grad school. When you get your hands on more, you let me know. John. What do you make of this, Hasenkamp? Well, let's see. Apparently a man named A scored some juice and it was really unreal stuff. So what do I make of it? A couple of things. One, the Landenberg ring has some real fuck-ups on its payroll. And two, you're wasting our time. One of the two, I'm more upset about the second because it involves you keeping me here with this cesspool longer than I need to be. Does this answer your question? Yeah, it does. Ask a silly question. Use the comm panel. You depress the call button. A shrill buzzing sound fills the air. There is no answer. Walk back a little bit and search for the code in here, presumably. Yeah, this place is a dump. Watch your step. This desk is an oasis of order amidst the chaos of the rest of the building. Papers and chips are stacked neatly or filled by name and date. There's even an old-fashioned coffee mug filled with a random assortment of graphite pencils and ink pens. Huh. This desk is actually organized. It must belong to somebody in management. My thoughts exactly. Time's wasting, let's keep moving. Hang on, there might be something important in here. Let's have a quick look. Fine, whatever. Just make it quick. Check the stacks of paper. You appear to have discovered a compilation of financial reports. Each report details the fiscal health of a small corporation. Taken as a whole, they paint a picture of small business across the whole of Germany. Each corp in the pile seems to have an interesting, innovative project underway. Unfortunately, they all are also in dire financial straits, and at least half of them are teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Despite the corporation's impending insolvency, the files suggest buying heavily into all of them. Apparently, the Landenberg ring sources have led them to believe that all of these corporations are on the verge of being acquired by a single megacorp. The file doesn't say which one. A financial crime ring is involved in insider trading? Shocking. Now can we please move on? Most of the drawers are neatly stocked with stationery supplies, but nothing interesting turns up. What strength level am I at right now? Oh, right. Can't do that. Leave the drawer alone. All done. You sure? Maybe there are some nice binder clips in there for you to play with, or a staple remover for you to steal. Really? Well, then maybe I should take another look. Forget I said anything. Let's go. Active terminal has been left on and the screen is still active. It has been logged in under the name Albert Trips. Keyboard input has been logged out and a password entry box hangs in the center of the screen. What would be the password? Let me think about it for a moment. And by think about it, I mean I'm going to check up on, well, another person that's been going through this. Let's see. What could the password be? I'm thinking it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're dealing with a winner here. Terminal main menu. Search the computer. A cursory inspection shows you that this computer has primarily been used to access a host of illicit matrix sites. While there is a full suite of office productivity software installed in the machine, it hasn't been opened in months. Wow, the Landenberg Ring really needs to start keeping a closer eye on its employees. I'm not surprised. It's only a matter of time before Plotz runs this place into the ground. I've heard that name before. Who is he? Jürgen Plotz. He's the leader of the Landenberg Ring. I had to share an office with that miserable son of a bitch for 5 years before we went our separate ways. He's the greediest, most narcissistic piece of work that I've ever met, and I work for a loan shark. I'd imagine that he's not a huge fan of you either. No, he's not. Anyway, in the end it doesn't matter. Mr. Grinder will get paid and Plotz is gonna write the check. Works for me. Let's keep moving. What do we have here? A hit of cram. And a vent for me to go through. Or rather, the drone to go through. Thank you for opening that door. A keycard, and what's on this desk? You find a sheaf of banking information. The data in this paperwork all points to Meat Grinder and contains a long list of financial transactions and known associates. The whole thing is enclosed in a manila file folder labeled Plots. For once, Hasenkamp doesn't complain about the detour. When he sees this information in front of you, he stops dead in his tracks. Why would Plots have Meat Grinder's financial records? To steal from him, most likely. But these records, they don't make any sense. Care to explain that to the rest of us? The accountant frowns, staring at the paper printouts in front of him. I know Mr. Grinder's books. I sent them for him. And I'm telling you, what I'm seeing here does not add up. In what way? I'm seeing projections for future profits in here that run way outside the scope of what our organization brings in annually. I don't know how Plotz got his hands on this information, but it couldn't be any more wrong. Maybe there's something going on that you don't know about. Could Grinder be working a deal under your nose? Something he wants to keep you insulated from, maybe? No way. That would be financial suicide. Mr. Grinder is good at intimidating people and breaking kneecaps. When it comes to keeping the business running, I'm the man he turns to. Have been for a dozen years. Maybe you should ask Grinder about it when we're done with the run. Yeah. He glances back at the folder of information, a conflicted expression on his face. Maybe I should. But now let's plod our way back here. Now we can use the keycard. The door unlocks with a solid thunk. Who the hell are you? And we're done here. The interface of this console has been locked. Peering around behind the terminal, you find an absolute rat's nest of tangled cables running between it and the servers. Blitz? There's an awful lot of cables back here. Come on, Chief, it's not that complicated. They're running on a hardware firewall. You find it installed in the main matrix line just before it reaches the first server. Good stuff, really. Oh, for Christ's sake, quit preening and walk him through it. Hate to say it, but he's right. If you want me to get you around that firewall, you're gonna have to give me instructions. Alright, Chief, I'll take you through the steps. First, find the main matrix line. It'll be the heavy-duty optical cable that's wired in through a wall from outside. Okay, got it. Good. Now find the first box that cable connects into. It'll have 3 cables plugged into it. 1 power and 2 optical. Connect the ends of the bypass to the 2 optical cables. Following his instructions, you soon have the bypass connected. Alright, that's done. What's next? Nothing. I'm in. That wasn't so hard now, was it? Just get us into the vault, Blitz. I'm on it. So that was the yellow door. That's one we need to open, right? Still can't get to the teller area door. Oh, it's gonna be one of those. An activation bit. Time to go find a socket to plug it into. Now, if we take one from here and plug it into here, that opens up this bit. If I were to take this, it's gonna raise up this gate and I'm gonna be locked in, so... this bit. I cannot see exactly what it opens, so... while I am at it, hack that data node. Hey Chief, I found something in here that you might want to have a look at. What is it? Looks like a sort of a persona non grata list for the Landenberg ring. Everyone in here is listed as shoot on sight. There are a lot of names here. Lots of personal information too. Known associates, credit history, holopics, that kind of thing. Alright, so what's interesting about it? Well, there are 3 names on this list that I recognize. One of them is mine, naturally. The Landenbergs and the Schwarze-Herzen never did get along. Another is Hasenkamp's. I'm not surprised. These bastards would just love my head on a plate. And Chief, the other one is yours. They've got a whole dossier on you. No idea where they got it from or why, but they have it. I'd never even heard of these bastards before tonight, so how the hell do they know about me? No idea. Looks like a new file. It was just uploaded about 20 minutes ago. Hang on a second, there's an attachment. I'll send it to you. Blitz's voice falls silent. A few seconds later, a brief message appears on the screen of your PDA. Plots, here's the intel of those unwanted guests that I warned you about. They're coming tonight. Take appropriate precautions. Another message for Plots. I'm not surprised. He tried to micromanage everything when we worked together. Everything had to be exactly how he wanted it all the time. I can't imagine that's changed now. Well, that was very enlightening. Want me to delete the file, Chief? Please. Done and done. No need to worry about that anymore. That's very reassuring. Thanks, Blitz. If I place that bit here, that of course opens that other area. Now, can I steal enough? Of the data bits to get the teller area open. Or at least get the teller area opened first. And then we can get onto that part. That should work in theory, right? You can stay over here for now. Alternatively... Well, what does this one open or close? It's got that part open, which means we can take that bit. Place it here. And then take that bit here. Honestly, that's not too hard. At least not as devilishly hard as it could be. Hey Chief, I just cracked open a security door somewhere in your area. It might be worth checking out. Will you please tell him to concentrate on the job? We're going here to settle his debt, not to hunt for souvenirs. Alright, Blitz, we'll look into it. Great. Hey, thanks for doing that, Blitz. No problem, Chief. It's great to feel appreciated. Hey, I did support you, Blitz, so don't get too excited. I'll grab that last bit. And slot it in there, and that should open the vault door. Now, that particular bit means... Alright, Chief, it looks like there's another firewall blocking me from the vault controls. Go on. I'm gonna try to get you limited access to the facility. You should be able to find a terminal in there that you can bring the firewall down, and from there I'll get you access to the vault. Got it. That one should be it. Alright, you're clear into the secured area. Keep your eyes open, Chief. There is a tiny chance that you might bump into some physical security from here on out. Other than the crazy guy in the server room, you mean? Yeah, other than him. You said that there wouldn't be any security in this building. Easy in, easy out, no security, that's what you told Mr. Grinder. Those were your exact words. Yeah, well, the situation has changed. A bit. Look, I'm not saying that you will hit security, I'm just saying that you might. So just keep your eyes open and lower the next firewall, okay? We'll keep our eyes peeled. What have we here? Armtech MGL-5. Portal grenade launcher that fires mini grenades. 2 AP to reload. That's some serious hardware for a bank. Anyone home? There's one. There's another. And look sharp, security. Doesn't look like they see us. Can we deal with them? Not yet, looks like it. And here's the the nearest firewall terminal. This looks like the terminal that Blitz was telling you about. Disengage the second firewall. The button depresses and with a meaty thunk. That's done it, Chief. The final firewall just went down. I should be clear to access that secure node now. Get to it then. Done and done. This'll be easy as pie. You wait and see. That's all fine and good, but be quick about it. There were some guards in the other room, and I don't want to be there if they decide to come exploring. Yeah, I'm on it. You two cool your jets. I'll let you know as soon as the vault door is open. More playing... No. No more playing around with critical bits of information, at least not yet. Might be some portal hopping involved. Might be. However, unlock the vault door. There's another telltale crackle of static from your comlink. Blitz's voice fills your ear. His tone is impossibly smug. Alright, Chief. That should do it. The vault's open and I'm suppressing the alarm. Easy as pie, just like I said. Yes, we're all very impressed. Now let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's do it. In hindsight, those portals must have led into these particular cubicles. As you approach the terminal, Hasenkamp steps forward. I'll handle the transfer from here, thank you. Be my guest. Hasenkamp's fingers dance over the terminal keypad. A progress bar winks into the screen and rapidly climbs toward 100%. Very good. Now only one more thing that needs doing, and then we can get out of here. What one more thing? The deal was that we get Grinder his money transfer. We've done that. That took care of Blitz's debt to Mr. Grinder. Consider this the interest. Hey, whoa, hold up. I don't owe any interest. Grinder didn't say anything about interest. If you're grabbing things out of safe deposit boxes, we want a cut. Just wait here for a minute. I'll be right back. Hasenkamp walks to a nearby safe and taps a code into the keypad. The door swings open. He reaches inside and pulls out a small plastic box, then taps the activator on his comlink. Yes, Mr. Grinder, the package is secure. That's right, I'm holding it right now. I'll have it in your hands within the next 15 minutes. This is bullshit, Chief. By all rights, the box should be ours. This was our run. What do you want me to do, steal it from him? Well, no, of course not. I'm just saying... What do you think Grinder would do if we took the box from Hasenkamp? Well, he'd take my thumbs off, wouldn't he? I think that's the safe bet. Damn it. Blitz falls into disgruntled silence. You can hear the soft murmur of Hasenkamp speaking into his comlink from across the room. Finally, he taps the power button and deactivates the device. Alright, the deal is done. Let's get out of here. Upon approaching the vault door, two things become immediately apparent. One, when you stepped into the vault, the door sealed and latched behind you. And two, there is no obvious way to open it from where you're standing. Hey Blitz, open the door. Huh? What do you mean, Chief? The vault door, idiot. There's no way to open it from in here. You did account for that, didn't you? There is a long pause. Oops. Oops! I think that I might have missed that detail when I planned this run through. This isn't a small detail, Blitz. If you don't get that door open, we're gonna die in here. Easy there, Chief. Just cool your jets and let me get to work on this. I'll figure something out, don't you worry. Hasenkamp rubs his temples with his free hand. The other cradles the plastic box like a piece of fine china. I knew that something like this was going to happen. When Mr. Grinder told me who I'd be checking up on, I just knew it. We all make mistakes. What's important is how we handle them. Right, Blitz? Right, Chief. And boy, am I gonna handle this one. Just you wait and see. Give me 2 seconds and I'll have you out of here. 1, 2. There's a long pause. Finally, Blitz speaks again. His voice is strained. Alright, Chief. I think that I can see how to get you out of here. You give it the go-ahead and I'm gonna try something, but, there's a catch. I hesitate to ask. Well, right now I'm keeping about 4 different alarms from triggering. No big deal, I can handle it. But I won't lie, opening that door is gonna be tough. It'll take concentration, and I don't think I can keep all 4 alarms locked down while I'm doing it. So you're telling us that in order to open the door, you're going to have to set off the alarm. Do I have that right? Well, technically, you set off the alarm when you stepped into the vault. All I'm doing is keeping the signals locked down so that they can't get out. And I might be able to release the lock fast enough to catch the alarms before they sound, but I can't guarantee it. How reassuring. Alright, Blitz, go ahead and do your thing. I believe in you. Seconds later, the vault door releases with a heavy thunk. Done and done, Chief. Nicely done, Blitz. Your sentence is interrupted by a shrill wailing sound, an alarm. That's so cute to leave. Yeah. Can't say I didn't warn you. You'd better get out of there. That alarm is going to off in both Meat Space and the Matrix. Reinforcements are on the way. You don't want to be there when they get there. That's an understatement. Let's get the hell out of here. Give the game a moment. Alright. What we got? A rigger and an enforcer. First things first, of course, we're dealing with a rigger. Nicely done, Mr. Hasenkamp. That's that portion done. You hear a loud thunking sound, a heavy-duty mag lock clicking shut. The little red light above the exit door goes from green to red. Blitz, I'm detecting a pattern here. Yeah, Chief. I'm getting right on it. What a goddamn train wreck. There's another long pause. The tension mounts. Then your comlink crackles to life again. Okay, Chief, I figured out how to get you out of here. You're gonna have to release a couple of locks. You can find the controls in the rooms to the north and south of your current position. But in order to get to those locks, I'm gonna have to hold the doors open for you. Keep talking. Now, on my end, holding even one of those doors open is gonna be a full-time job. There's no way that I can hold both at once. So once I've opened the door, you'll have to run in and release the lock, then get back out again. I won't be able to do much else until you do. You hold the door open, that we run in, release the lock, and get out again. Do that twice, once for each door. That's right. Once we've released both locks, you need to get out of there as quickly as possible. I'll lock the place down behind you. Oh, and Chief, you're about to have some more company in there. Wonderful. There's the Stooges. We should be able to deal with that. Ow. Heal up. And move up. First, I think we're gonna hit that door. I'd appreciate it if you stopped shooting my robots. Drones, that is. Every time. Ow. I don't appreciate that. And neither do you. Heal up. The wreck. Port cap hell. This is taking some time. Can you stop damaging my drones? I've accessed the door controls. Say when and I'll force it for you. Once it's open, you've got to get in there and release the southern lock from the control panel. Hold on a second, Blitz. We're not positioned yet. Okay, we're ready. Force it. Ow. There goes my support drone. Southern lockdown console released. What pistol are you using? Ruger's Super Warhawk. How about... There we go. Damn me and my stubby legs. However, there is no other option. So we just need to keep on keeping on. I'm gonna need to fix up my drone, first things first. Okay, that's one door dealt with. On to our next stop. was hoping for a crit. Guess this one's on me, huh? That's done it, Chief. Bail out and out there. Once you're both made it into the next room, I'll lock the door behind you. That should buy you a few seconds at least. We're on it. Can you? Almost. Gotta keep moving. There's a loud burst of static from your comlink. That takes care of that, all locked up tight, and you should be clear to make your exit. Thank God for that. I hate to admit it, Blitz, but you did good back there. Hey, thanks, Hasenkamp. Yeah, you too. Now, you two ready to get out of there? Do you even have to ask? Alright, let's see what we can do about that. There's a long pause. Then Blitz's voice crackles out of your PDA speakers. Head for the front door this time. Not the alley. What? Just go with me on this, Chief. The door that you came in through is no good. You want to go out the front. There's a terminal that I'll need you to access. One more button to press. Do that, and we're home free. Alright, Blitz, the front door it is. Good, and make sure that Hasenkamp comes with you. Gotta make sure that Box makes it back to Grinder. As far as I can tell, no more combat. But sure, front door it is. Okay. I'm guessing this means that you're spawning something, which means there is a combat section after all. There's the 4 turrets. This must be the terminal that Blitz wanted you to use. Its screen is badly scratched and the casing is cracked, but the design tells you that it was originally a part of the bank's security system. Come on, let's get this show on the road. We're almost out of this godforsaken place. Well, you're half right. Val is almost out. You, on the other hand, won't ever leave this building, you son of a bitch. Blitz, what the hell? Shut up and listen, Chief. Hasenkamp is planning on screwing you. I've had a bot digging up intel on the man ever since you stepped into that building together, and let me tell you, he's not trustworthy. Says the man who ratted out his own gang. To hell with this, I'm leaving. I wouldn't if I were you. Val there can kill you with the press of a button. I can? Well, more accurately, he can give me the control of those auto turrets with the press of a button, and then I can kill you. But he wouldn't do that, would he? That depends on what Blitz has to tell me. Get this, Chief. That son of a bitch isn't really an accountant. He's an assassin, and Grinder's second-in-command to boot. Making people disappear is his job, Val. No way Grinder would have sent him if he intended to set you walk out of there alive. That true, Hasenkamp? The bit about my place in Mr. Grinder's organization? Sure. But the part about me killing you? No. I intend to walk out that door, give the box to Mr. Grinder, and go home to my family. Like I said. Why the lie? Why tell me you're an accountant? It wasn't a lie. I am an accountant, and I'm here in that capacity at Mr. Grinder's request. People can be more than one thing, you know. Don't let him sweet-talk you, Chief. Push the button and let me blow him away. Val, listen to me. Your pal is a thief and a killer and a rat. You push that button and I'll die, sure. But Mr. Grinder is waiting for me, and he's waiting for this box. And you don't want the kind of trouble that's gonna come your way if I don't get to him. By all rights, that box should be ours, Chief. This was our run. Grinder can't have the money and the box. That's just unfair. See what I mean? That's what all this is all about. He wants the box. He doesn't even know what's in it, but he's willing to kill an old man for it. How is that not sending up red flags for you? I'm telling you, I work for a loan shark, and I wouldn't feel safe around this guy. I think that there's something else going on here. I think that we've all been set up. Explain. I think that your boss is in bed with the Landenberg ring. I think that he is the silent partner that we read about. Mr. Grinder? Working with plots? Are you high? No, I'm dead serious. I've known Mr. Grinder for 12 years, and I'm telling you he would never work with that son of a bitch. Besides, if that were true, why would he have sent me in here to help you rob the place? I'm guessing he... Are you familiar with the phrase, killing two birds with one stone? Don't get cute with me, Val. Say what you mean. He isn't being cute, jackass. He's accurately describing the situation. Obviously, Meat Grinder wants you out of the way. Throwing around words like obviously doesn't make them true. Why the hell would Mr. Grinder want to get rid of me? I run his business, for God's sake. I don't know, man. But one thing I can tell you, somebody gave Plots that info on us, and Val's name was on that list. Now tell me, other than you, me, and Grinder, who even knew that he'd be coming here tonight? And why wasn't Grinder's name on Plots' kill list? Hasenkamp falls silent, but his mouth curls into a frown. We also found those financial projections, remember? The ones that showed a massive increase in Grinder's future profits? Those were fake. Or were they real and your boss is cutting you out of whatever he has planned? No. No way. Mr. Grinder wouldn't do a thing like that. Not to me. I think that Grinder has gotten tired of competing against the Landenberg ring, and I think that he and Plots are planning a merger. Their business models work well together. The ring tricks idiots into taking out predatory loans, and Grinder shows up to collect. You get the irony of what you just said, right? Sure, I get it. And you get that your boss is cutting you out of this operation, right? I'm sure that Landenberg ring has plenty of accountants. Grinder wouldn't need you anymore. There's a long pause. Hasenkamp stares at you, processing what you've just told him. He opens his mouth to speak, then closes it again. From what you've told us about Plots, he wouldn't want you in the picture either. There's bad blood between you two, right? Yeah, there is. It all seems pretty clear-cut to me. Well, he glances down at the plastic box cradled in his arms. Son of a bitch. There's a long pause. Finally, Blitz breaks the silence. So, I guess that means we're all on the same team now, right? Yeah, that's right. And as a show of good faith, I'll tell you. Your pal was right. Grinder sent me here to see that the transaction went through smoothly, yes, but he also wanted me to kill you. Told you. You are on a job the same as we are. I can understand that. Thanks. I was hoping you would. For what it's worth, you have nothing to fear from me now. I didn't want to kill you in the first place, and now that I've tendered my resignation, there are only two people who need to worry about me shooting them. Just to be clear, I'm not the one of the two people, am I? No, Blitz, you are not. When we get out of here, I have a score to settle with Plots and Grinder. And believe me, I will settle it. Sounds great to me. I'll be back at the Croyd's Bazaar, scrubbing the filth. Speaking of which, can we talk about how we're gonna get out of here? Yeah, of course, Chief. If you do me a favor of pushing that button, I'll activate the security doors. That's all you're gonna do, right? I'm trusting you here. Of course, man. You've got nothing to worry about from me anymore. It's cool, Hasenkamp. You can trust him. Absolutely, because I'm trustworthy. Now, I'll just activate those security doors and... His voice cuts off. There's a long pause, punctuated by crackles of static from your comlink. Let's... His panicked voice punches through your comlink speakers. There's somebody here with me, Chief. Another Decker. And you've got incoming at your local... Get ready, Hasenkamp. We're about to have company. The intruder's avatar shimmers in the cool ambient glow of the bank's matrix hub. He sneers at Blitz, and his hands close into fists. Who the hell are you, man? I could ask you the same of you. You're in my banking system, you little bastard. What? My name is Plotz. I run the Langenberg Ring. That makes this bank and everything in it mine. That means that you and your friend are trespassing, and that means that neither of you is going to make it out of here alive. I'm shaking in my boots, man. I mean, seriously. How old are you, by the way? Because you look about 40. I'm spry enough to ruin your day, punk. Your ass is mine. Well, time to summon some help. That's cute. However, once again, you are not getting out of here. Consider this your resignation letter. Out in the material world, how are we gonna go about this? Kinda like that, I suppose. I'd like to believe that after we're done with plots, those turrets can be switched back on our side. Ah, they're haywire. Anyway, plots, get out of here. And get those auto turrets on our side. Post haste. Plots is down, and all 4 turrets are back under my control. Go to town, Chief. I've got you covered. Good job, man. Can you? There we go. Precisely what I want to see. Are we done here? We need to shoot the turrets as well. No, there's just more coming, as I suspected. As always, Geek the Mage. First things first, always Geek the Mage. Even if it's just a conjurer. I'm gonna need to get me some more of their kits. Their absence is starting to become a problem, believe it or not. Especially in these conditions. Come on. There, the gunfire dies down and the smoke clears. You and Hasenkamp find yourself staring at one another across a room stacked with corpses. Well, that takes care of that. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take care of Mr. Grinder. He tosses something to you. Reflexively, you snatch it out of the air. The object feels smooth and warm to the touch. It's the plastic box that Hasenkamp pulled out of the safe deposit box. My former employer won't be needing this anymore. Give it to your pal, Blitz. I'm sure that he can find a use for it. Hey, alright! What does it do? Beats me. From the collections on the bottom, it looks like it was made to plug into a cyber deck. Beyond that, I'm as in the dark about the thing as you are. All I know is that Grinder wanted it. That should be good enough for the red-haired disaster. Anyway, I've got things to do. I should go get them. Go get to them. If I hurry, I can have Grinder dead in a dumpster and still get home in time to read the grandkids a story. What about plots? Never did like the man. I'll give him a chance to scurry away, let him get his hopes up for a day or two. Then I'm gonna chuck his ass into a wood chipper. Good luck, Hasenkamp. Don't need it, but thanks anyway. You did good, Val. You ever get tired of running the shadows, you come see me. I could find a place in my organization for a man like you. I'll keep it in mind. As for us, we can go. The ride back to the Kreutz Bazaar is a lonely one. This train car smells a little better than the one you rode in on. It isn't great, but at least it doesn't leave you gagging. Still, things are looking up. You've helped Blitz pull himself out of hot water, and with any luck at all, he'll never have to set foot in Drogenkeeper again. After a long, boring trip, the car rattles to a stop. The doors slide open. You're home. Now, looking at the time, I think I'm gonna need to finish things up for tonight. This has been a very productive run. We're definitely getting a lot of stuff done. And let me tell you, next week, next Wednesday, we're definitely gonna finish that Arts Technology run. We got sidetracked with our companion quests for tonight. Plus another run about silencing a horrible dwarf. However, thank you all for sticking around. I hope you're enjoying the show. And until next time.